Chapter 1926. After pondering for a while, Ao Luyan returned to the Seven Rain Monarch and reported the recent events to her. Well done. That B***TCH has to be dealt with. Condoning the disciples of the sect to violate the precepts, no matter how you kill him, it's not too much. The Seven Rain Monarch's eyes were shining. She was someone who abhorred evil and hated profligate sons like Yen Jinghua the most. Right now he's very stable. Ordinary people really can't deal with him. The junior king under the various sovereigns will have a hard time catching him. Besides, if he doesn't take the initiative to attack, it's hard for others to find him. I think that the forces under the Big Dipper King should have helped him a little. Ao Luyan explained his analysis. That's natural. With such a young talent, if there's no grudge, anyone would be willing to form a relationship with him. The Seven Rain Monarch said. Then everything makes sense. Ao Luyan said. He has a virtuous body and has luck on him. In addition, in the Nine Heavens Pagoda, his title was strengthened. In the outside world, he also has a certain amount of luck. When he grows up, he will be amazing. The Seven Rain Monarch understood why Night Sorrow could get the support of the Big Dipper King. Seems like this Big Dipper King is a smart person. After hearing the Seven Rain Monarch's words, Ao Luyan understood why the Big Dipper King supported Night Sorrow. That's natural. If another sovereign appears in the celestial realm, it will definitely be the Big Dipper King. He has principles and a gentleman. The Black Heavens sovereign won't stop him from becoming a sovereign. The Seven Rain Monarch said. In the outside world, after a sovereign appeared, a second sovereign would rarely appear because it would affect the ruling position. Under normal circumstances, a world would only have one sovereign. In the case of a world having two or more sovereigns, the first sovereign must have an extraordinary breadth of mind or not care about the struggle for power. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The Sky Dome realm having two sovereigns was an example. It was because the no-beginning sovereign was magnanimous and didn't care about the struggle for power that he allowed the Grey Cloud sovereign to appear. There were two kings in the continent of the Nine Clouds because Monarch Shen Shao and Monarch Zi Shao were brothers. Ao Luyan nodded. He understood that the Big Dipper King was the second in command of the Xian Celestial Realm. So no one would dare to make a big move against Night Sorrow. Go. Remember, Night Sorrow is someone worth befriending. He is also someone worth the Seven Rain World's attention. The Seven Rain Monarch instructed once more. Ao Luyan bowed and left the Seven Rain main hall. He continued to observe the situation in the Xian Celestial Realm. Night Sorrow lived an ordinary life every day. Sometimes he would go out for a walk with Northstar. Right now Big Dipper City was very quiet, and there weren't any spies. When they went out for a walk again, Night Sorrow thought for a moment, and turned to look at Northstar. Let's go and meet King Drifting Cloud. Well, they don't have any ill intentions, so they have good intentions. It's good to meet them. Northstar nodded. As the young miss of Big Dipper City, Northstar had a good outlook on the big picture. She also had her own analysis of some matters. Night Sorrow and Northstar had just arrived at the inn where Ao Luyan was staying when Ao Luyan appeared. He brought them to the guest room of the inn where he was staying and brewed a pot of tea. You can still run out? Ao Luyan sat down and asked after pouring tea for Night Sorrow and Northstar. King Drifting Cloud knows that Big Dipper City is very quiet. There aren't any spies from other forces, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's true. However, it's better to be cautious when you're growing up. It won't be too late to take revenge after you've grown up, Ao Luyan said. Drifting Cloud, King Drifting Cloud is right. If I really can't do it, I'll run. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Ao Luyan was giving him a kind reminder. It's good that you know. The minor world you came from, and the Seven Rain world are good places for you to go. There are some things that you can say directly. Because of your excellence, my master is willing to protect you without asking for any price. Ao Luyan said after pondering for a moment. Thank you, Monarch Seven Rain. I, Night Sorrow, will remember your kindness. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his fists towards Ao Luyan. Before I came here, my master told me to do so. I had to do it. Now, I admire your way of doing things. As long as it doesn't harm the interests of the Seven Rain world, I will help you even if my master didn't tell me to. In fact, there are many things that don't require a reason, Ao Luyan said with a smile. Yes, there are many things that don't require a reason. Drifting Cloud, King Drifting Cloud. I will also remember your kindness today, Night Sorrow said with a smile. No need to be so polite. I didn't help you much. With the help of Big Dipper King and Miss Northstar, you won't have any problems. Ao Luyan shook his head. Indeed, he hadn't helped Night Sorrow much. I don't need any help. You didn't hit me when I was in a difficult situation. That is a kind of kindness, Night Sorrow said after taking a sip of tea. You didn't hit me when I was down is a kind of kindness. Well said. Aside from you, I don't think anyone else would have such thoughts. To have such thoughts is also a kind of realm. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Ao Luyan was stunned for a moment. Then he clapped his hands. Night Sorrow's words had revealed a kind of realm. It was a realm that no one in the profound celestial realm had reached. Drifting Cloud, King Drifting Cloud, you flatter me. I was just expressing my feelings, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Ao Luyan shook her head. She had an indescribable feeling in her heart. She couldn't express the feeling Night Sorrow gave her. After chatting with Ao Luyan for a while, Night Sorrow and Northstar stood up and bid farewell. After Night Sorrow left, Ao Luyan sank into deep thought. Now she truly understood why the Seven Rain Sovereign valued Night Sorrow so much. Aura. Ao Luyan felt Night Sorrow's aura and aura. Even when facing her king realm, Night Sorrow didn't show any pressure. Instead, he became the center of attention. All the conversations were led by Night Sorrow. In terms of demeanor, Night Sorrow displayed the demeanor of a great general. Ao Luyan felt that even some of the direct descendants of great powers couldn't compare to Night Sorrow's demeanor. Next was his state of mind. Night Sorrow was very open-minded. Although he was being chased by the subordinates of many sovereigns, he didn't show any signs of being flustered. On the contrary, he was calm. Night Sorrow's words, "You didn't hit me when I was down as a kind of kindness," had greatly touched Ao Luyan. Northstar, who left with Night Sorrow, didn't say anything. He even looked a little absent-minded. Northstar, what's wrong? Night Sorrow stopped and turned to look at Northstar. The Seven Rain Realm is trying to rope you in. Will you go? Northstar asked after taking a deep breath. Chapter 1927. It's not that I'm overthinking, but the Seven Rain Sovereign values you very much. I can say that if you go to the Seven Rain world, you will have a better future, Beixing said. Don't tell me I won't have a future if I don't go to the Seven Rain world? Besides, do you think I can give up Seven Night City? Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's true, I'm overthinking. Beixing smiled embarrassedly. She was too concerned about whether Night Sorrow would be taken away by the Seven Rain world, so she was a little worried. Night Sorrow and Beixing returned to the courtyard behind the Sage Pavilion. How was the meeting? Xueshi asked. She didn't care about the situation outside, but she was concerned about Night Sorrow's safety. Everything is fine. Oh right, we haven't gone to the Seven Night Mountain for a while. Let's go and see how the construction is going, Night Sorrow said. Beixing and Xueshi both agreed to Night Sorrow's suggestion. They also wanted to see how the Seven Night City was built now. After 2 teleportations, Night Sorrow arrived at the Seven Night Mountain. After exiting the teleportation array, Night Sorrow was a little stunned because the scene before his eyes was different from what he remembered. The Seven Night Mountain had undergone huge changes. Night Sorrow wrapped Beixing and Xueshi with his energy and went to the nearest peak to have a bird's-eye view of the entire situation. The location of the Seven Night City was bustling with activity. The scale of a city had already appeared. There was a towering pavilion below the cliff with the words Seven Night City Lord's Mansion written on it. Night Sorrow brought Beixing and Xueshi to the entrance of the City Lord's Mansion. Night Sorrow entered the City Lord's Mansion after feeling the sturdy and solemn bluestone ground. At the table in the City Lord's Mansion's hall, Taishu Yen and Jun Xuanji, who were drawing, were discussing something. However, the two of them raised their heads when they felt someone enter. Seeing Night Sorrow, Taishu Yen and Jun Xuanji were surprised. They then cupped their hands and greeted him. You don't have to be so polite. You've done a good job, Night Sorrow said. That's natural. The 9 regions world is fully constructed. Night Moon Dynasty, Tianji Tower, and Assassination Hall's people are all here. Long Xianxing and Saint Proclamation are running. They often go out to buy materials. For example, the City Lord's mansions built is made of rare materials. The City Lord's mansion. It is also the main hall, the teleportation array. They're all busy. They're supervising different things. Your wife and Lord Wu Kei are cultivating. Their doppelganger seems to be at the Seven Nights Lake. Let's go and take a look, Tai Shuyan said. At the edge of the Seven Nights mountain area, there was a big lake. It originally had no name. Night Sorrow named it when he was surveying the terrain. When Yishang arrived, he found that some workers were also busy. Night Sorrow. Seeing Night Sorrow, Sikong Chiyu shouted happily. Looking at S. Edition E chapter up E Cool H Craftsman Jr. Net. Night Sorrow smiled and greeted him. He then nodded to Wu Lingfei. What are you building here? Night Sorrow asked after greeting them. Living quarters. Our living quarters. Auntie Fei said that you like to sail boats on the big lake. We'll build a courtyard here. You'll have a place to live in the future, Yang Lei said. It's important to build the city now. Don't mobilize the workers in the city. Our courtyard can be built later. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and felt that he shouldn't get any special privileges. I know what you're thinking. These are my family's gardeners and craftsmen. They're not the workers in the construction team, Sikong Chiyu said. Oh. Then there's no problem. The design here is good. After the city is built, it'll be a quiet place. Night Sorrow said as he looked around. This place isn't suitable for building other facilities. When we were designing the blueprint, this place was marked out. It'll be your resting place, Jun Xuanji said. Is this okay? Night Sorrow looked around again. You're the city lord. This is your territory. Doesn't the city lord have a place to rest? Tai Shuyan said with a smile. Then you make the arrangements. I won't care. Here are some spirit stones. Take them and give them to Long Xianxing and Saint Xian in exchange for resources. The construction of the city can be slow, but the foundation must be good. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome in the future. Night Sorrow reminded Tai Shuyan and Jun Xuanji. Commander, don't worry. We went to Xiantian Imperial City once and handled the construction of Seven Night City according to the scale of Xiantian Imperial City. Although we can't reach that level now, the foundation is definitely enough, Jun Xuanji said. The scale is too big. Night Sorrow was a little stunned after hearing Jun Xuanji's words. Xiantian Imperial City was the #1 city in the profound heaven world. Night Sorrow had never thought of building Seven Night City according to the scale of Xiantian Imperial City. Take it slow. We can build the key areas first. The construction of the outer areas can wait. If we build it now, we won't be able to use it, Tai Shuyan said with a smile. Yes, we can take it slow. Wu Lingfei nodded. After that, everyone made tea and chatted casually in the pavilion that was already built. The girls asked about Night Sorrow's recent situation. After knowing that Night Sorrow was safe, the girls were relieved. If it's not possible, Night Sorrow, you can go back to the 9-domain world. Can they chase you there? Wait until you enter King Realm, then come back, Sikong Chiyu said. She was worried about Night Sorrow's safety. Okay, I'll be careful. Your clones stay here. The main body will work hard to cultivate. Everything will be fine, Night Sorrow said to the girls. Oh right, Night Sorrow, there's something else I want to tell you. The 9 continents of our 9-domain world are converging together. The density of heaven and earth spirit chi has also increased, Wu Lingfei said. This is the reaction of the 9-domain world after it was completed, right? Night Sorrow said with a smile. This was a good sign. Suddenly, Night Sorrow's body shook. Night Sorrow's face also turned cold. What's wrong? Aoi asked. The 9-domain sources informed me that because of the evolution of the 9-domain world, it has attracted some trouble. Another world has appeared and is approaching the 9-domain world, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow had just received the news from the 9-domain sources and understood what was going on. Tribulation. Chapter 1928. How could this be? Aoi asked. Following this, Night Sorrow told the girls about the information he had obtained from the 9 domains' origins. There were some things that Night Sorrow did not know, and he only understood after the 9 domains' origins told him. When a cultivator's level greatly increased, they would have to be acknowledged by the heavenly Tao and undergo tribulation lightning. There were also tribulations, such as inner demons and wind and fire tribulations. It was the same for the formation and advancement of a spatial world. The 9 domains world's laws were complete, and it had the nihility origin source as its core. It was developing towards a supreme world. The 9 domains world still had a long way to go to become a supreme world, but now that the 4 high-grade laws had perfectly fused, it had become a high-grade world. As such, it had to undergo tribulation. The tribulation that the 9 domains world was facing this time was an attack from an evil world. If it could not withstand it, the 9 domains world's origin chi would be stolen, and its level would drop. It would become a low-grade world again, and it would be difficult to say when it would recover. It might even be destroyed. If the 9 domains world was destroyed, it would be a disaster for the 9 domains world's life forms. It was true that cultivators could move to the heaven profound world and survive, but if the source root was gone, it would have a huge impact on the growth of their cultivation and the evolution of their levels in the future. What should we do? Wu Lingfei asked after hearing Night Sorrow's words. I have a clone that has fused with the Heaven Sealing Palace, which suppresses the world. It can protect the origin chi from being stolen for a short period of time. What we need to do is attack this evil world, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow brought the girls back to the 7 Night City's City Lord's residence, and asked Jun Xuanji to gather the 9 domains administrators to the commander's residence in the Grand Clarity City for a meeting. Night Sorrow, do you need people? I can go back and gather some, Bei Xing, who knew that Night Sorrow was in danger, asked. While Night Sorrow was thinking, the 9 realms' origins told Night Sorrow that it was impossible to rely on external forces. Foreign cultivators did not originate from the 9 realms, and could not receive the support of the 9 realms world. They were not qualified to participate in such a war, and would be killed by the evil world's laws. Thank you, North Star. This is a tribulation for the 9 realms world. It's also a tribulation for the 9 realms world. We have to face it ourselves. I can't go to Big Dipper City for now. Once I've dealt with the 9 realms world, I'll go to Big Dipper City, Night Sorrow said to North Star. Then I wish you good luck. See you in Big Dipper City. North Star looked at Night Sorrow and nodded. She knew that there were some things that she couldn't help with. After sending off North Star, Night Sorrow returned to Sky City with the girls around him. Night Sorrow, what kind of battle is this? When Zhu Juyin heard the news, he went to Night Sorrow's residence and asked. I've never experienced it before, but I can already feel the evil world. It's right below our 9 realms world, and will approach in 7 days. The evil world will attack from below and try to break through the 9 realms world. My clone in the Heaven Sealing Great Hall can control the Heaven Sealing Great Hall to suppress it, but it can only suppress it for a short period of time. This period of time will be the time we fight. Night Sorrow said to Zhu Juyun. Then what's the situation with the Nether Realm, Supreme River Space, and Profound Mysteries Realm? Zhu Juyun asked again. +% most new 1 chapters. Section E, Cool Craftsman Network. There are some things that you don't know. Over the years, the 9 realms world has been evolving. A few worlds have merged and recombined. The original 9 realms world is the core area, while the Profound Mysteries Realm, Nether Realm, and Supreme River Space are the auxiliary groups. The 3 space worlds are the inner worlds of the 9 realms world. The space barrier is also the space barrier of the 9 realms world. Therefore, this battle is all out. Night Sorrow explained to Zhu Jiyu. I see. Then it's going to be an all-out battle. I'll go to the Nether Realm to gather the troops. Zhu Juyun said. Go. I've already told Elder Jun about this. Gather the troops from the Profound Mysteries Realm as well. This is a calamity for the 9 realms world and us. It's also an opportunity for us and the 9 realms world. After this calamity, the 9 realms world will become a high-level world. Our life forms will also improve. Night Sorrow said. After making the arrangements, Night Sorrow leaned back in his chair. Night Sorrow, don't worry. No matter what, we can overcome it. There's no problem that we can't solve. Yang Lei said as she massaged Night Sorrow's shoulders. Time is too short. If I had more time, my main body would enter the king's realm. Then the combat power of these two clones would increase by leaps and bounds. Unfortunately, time waits for no one. Night Sorrow felt that this matter was always a little lacking. He couldn't face it calmly. A test. This is a test. Sikong Chiyu said. Perhaps. Night Sorrow softly muttered. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow brought his men to the commander's residence. At this moment, the upper echelons of the Nine Realms world were all present. The seats on both sides were filled with people. Night Sorrow walked to the main seat and sat down with a wave of his battle robe. After Night Sorrow sat down, the others all stood up and cupped their fists in greeting. Everyone, there's no need to be like this. Many of you are my seniors. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his fists in return. The commander is the leader of the Nine Realms world. It's only right that we receive greetings, Jun Xuanji said. After waving his hand for everyone to sit down, Night Sorrow explained what was going to happen next. We're not very clear about this. Commander, you can just give the order. Heavenly Underworld Saint said. Good. First, the non-combatants will continue with the construction of Seven Night City. The combatants will gather. This time we'll gather the elites. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices, Night Sorrow said. How will this team be divided? Tai Shuyan asked. The Holy King will be the team leader. He will lead the saints and sovereigns. After the team is organized, they will be on standby in Taiching City. They will be ready to fight at any time. In addition, the supply of resources must be kept up. Healing medicine and resources that can instantly replenish cultivation must be prepared. Night Sorrow gave a series of orders. After listening to Night Sorrow's words, everyone stood up again to accept the orders. Then that's it. Seven Night City still needs people to be stationed there. Saint Shang will be in charge of this matter. If there's any trouble, inform me immediately. Night Sorrow said to Shang Qiu, who had also returned for a meeting. After all the arrangements were made, Night Sorrow rushed to the old site of Clear Sky City. In the past, the old site of Clear Sky City was desolate and dilapidated. However, it was not now. At this time, the old site of Clear Sky City was full of rich energy. The Nine Realms origin shield was emitting a gentle light. Chapter 1929. Yes, outsiders are blocked by the realm transfer array. Even if they come here, I can still fight. As for the people inside the nine-domain world, I can also suppress and kill them. It is indeed necessary to rebuild this place. Night Sorrow nodded and said. After hearing the nine-domain origin body's suggestion, Night Sorrow felt that if he could survive this tribulation, then he would have the ability to protect the nine-domain world. First of all, he could enter the King Realm at any time. Once he entered the King Realm, then he could fight and kill a primary king. Even if he did not enter the King Realm, he would not be afraid of a one-star king or two-star king. In the profound sky world, Night Sorrow could fight a one-star or two-star king. In the nine-domain world, his advantage would be even more obvious. Moreover, the king could not enter the nine-domain world at all. As for the people inside the nine-domain world, they would be suppressed by him, the Realm Lord. At this moment, the evil world was very close to the nine-domain world. It rose from the bottom of the nine-domain world and would connect with the nine-domain world in a few days. This evil world was not part of the 3,000 worlds. It was a form of the heavenly Tao's test. It would only appear at a certain time. After a certain time, only one of it and the nine-domain world could exist. If the nine-domain world could withstand it, then it would become a high-level world. If it could not, then the evil world would replace the nine-domain world. As for the situation of the evil world, Night Sorrow knew a little. It was actually a projection of the nine-domain world. Its strength was almost the same. It could even be said that there was a realm lord on the same level as Night Sorrow. After staying in Clear Sky City for a while, Night Sorrow returned to the city in the sky and continued to think of a battle plan. At this moment, Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing were also in the city in the sky. Night Moon's Emperor and Yi Tian were also there. Yi Qianhua was also there. At this moment, Yi Qianhua had already entered the Saint King realm. With the cultivation experience of several lifetimes, and the time he entered the space-time pagoda to cultivate, his cultivation level naturally increased very quickly. Night Sorrow. How long can the 9 domains world last without knowing the battle situation? Yi Qianhua asked. Great Ancestor, I can't say the specific time. The minimum suppression time is half a year, which means that at least after the 2 worlds are connected, I can guarantee a stable time for half a year. This time may be longer. Night Sorrow told Yi Qianhua what he knew. Night Sorrow, you are the world lord of the 9 regions world, the founder of the new era of the 9 regions world. You don't have to call me Great Ancestor, just call me Saint Monarch Qianhua. Yi Qianhua shook his head and rejected Night Sorrow. That's not appropriate. After all, you are Night Moon's ancestor. Night Sorrow shook his head. Yi Qianhua looked at Night Sorrow and said, calling you Saint King Qianhua is very appropriate. According to the seniority of this life, I would have to call you uncle. Alright then. I will be able to gain a foothold in the Sky Mystic world soon. After settling the matters of the 9 regions world, we will fully develop in the Sky Mystic world. We will take back what the Tiannan Empire owes us. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Qianhua and Yi Tian and said, at this moment, Yi Tian was already a Saint King. After being imprisoned for 100 years, it was a test for his state of mind. After gaining freedom, his state of mind relaxed and he made substantial improvements. Night Sorrow, I am also very grateful to you. Without you, I would have spent my entire life in a ball cage. Yi Tian stood up and said to Night Sorrow, we are Night Moon's people. We have the same blood in our bodies. We have the courage to fight the heavens and the earth. If you humiliate Night Moon, we will fight to the end. Great Ancestor, you don't have to think too much. Moreover, you are also the faith of Night Moon's people. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't want Yi Tian to bear any pressure. You are wrong. There was once an era that belonged to me. However, Night Moon's faith is you. It is you now and it will be you in the future. Immortal Saint King Night Sorrow will forever be the faith of Night Moon's people. Yi Tian shook his head and said, that was the truth. Yi Tian was the symbol of Night Moon Empire's era. The undefeated King Yi Linghuan was the flag of Night Moon's era. However, the current soul of the Yi clan and the 9 regions world was Night Sorrow. It was a kind of faith. After resting for 2 days, Night Sorrow brought his wife and the people close to him to Taiching City. At this time, the square of Taiching City was filled with people. Moreover, they were divided into teams, and each team was led by a Saint King. This battle is a battle that we must win. Whether it is a quick battle or a steady progress depends on the specific situation. If my soul clone can control the Heaven Sealing Palace and suppress the evil world, then we can fight steadily. If the evil world is fierce and my soul clone and the Heaven Sealing Palace can't suppress it, then we have to fight quickly. There will be consumption and death, but we have to hold on. Night Sorrow said. It doesn't matter. We are all determined to fight to the death. Long Xianxing said. The leaders of the other teams also nodded. Living in this era, we are destined to be a generation that has to fight to the death. Perhaps it might be a little cruel for everyone, but for the future of the 9 regions world, we have no other choice. I, Night Sorrow, am willing to fight. I am willing to fight to the end for the 9 regions world. Night Sorrow looked at the group of people and spoke his mind. There is a kind of personality called perseverance. There is a kind of realm called willingness to sacrifice. There is also a kind of realm called willingness to sacrifice. The 9 regions world is fortunate to have a commander like you. It is also the fortune of our generation. Lu Qin stood up and bowed to Night Sorrow. Following Lu Qin's bow, everyone in the square also bowed to greet him. If we're alive, we have to live a good life. We're lucky to live in this era and have the opportunity to fight for the future generations. We have the opportunity to bring glory to ourselves. Isn't that our fortune? We have to be the pioneers of the 9 regions world. We have to become the sages of the 9 regions world in the eyes of the future generations. This time, we might die in battle. Even if we die, we have to use our bones and blood to create an immortal monument. Night Sorrow took out the Sky Splitter spear with his right hand and pointed it at the sky. He spoke of his reason for fighting and his belief in battle. The square quieted down. Then there was a shocking roar. Night Sorrow's words completely ignited the battle blood in everyone's body. As Night Sorrow's left arm pressed down, the square quieted down. For this battle, I, Night Sorrow, can't promise anything. I can't guarantee that everyone will come back alive. What I can do is to stay alive. You will definitely see my figure in battle. I have the determination to fight to the death, and the belief to win. Now let's go. Our target is Clear Sky City. Night Sorrow stepped onto the teleportation array after speaking. Then, Night Sorrow also activated the teleportation array he had set up on the seaside. An hour later, all the participants of the battle arrived at the square of Clear Sky City. Cool voice craftsman Net D. Chapter 1930. Then Princess Qinghuan told Night Sorrow about the Qinghuan army. The Green Phoenix army was split into 4 armies. The rear army was the Imperial Court army, the left army was the Black Armored army, the right army was the Flying Feather army, and the Vanguard army was the Thunder Lightning army. There were a total of 4 generals, and only 1 commander, which was Princess Green Phoenix. Ikulo D craftsman Fnet only in a positive version he. All of them. Robber 6-inch Your Majesty plans to send you to the Thunder Army. Princess Qinghuan explained the situation of the Qinghuan army and expressed her thoughts. Sure, no problem. Night Sorrow nodded. Alright, as long as you think there's no problem. In addition, you will also be the captain of Your Majesty's guards. Whether Your Majesty is in battle or not, you will follow by Your Majesty's side. Princess Qinghuan said the second arrangement. I'm afraid that's not a good idea. Night Sorrow's strength is low. At most, he would die on the battlefield. However, the princess's safety is more important than anything else. Night Sorrow can't bear the responsibility. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and said, joining the army required one to fight and kill their opponents. However, it was different for the captain of the princess's bodyguards. It involved a lot more. Don't worry, let's talk about this later. First, follow Your Majesty to the Green Phoenix army and familiarize yourself with it. Then we'll see what position you can take. Princess Green Phoenix changed the topic. Green Yuan army was stationed at heaven-facing cliff outside Qing Emperor City. This was the southern gate of the Qing Emperor Imperial Court. Princess Green Yuan brought Zhuo Tingyun and the guards, as well as Night Sorrow, red clothes, and blue clothes through the transport formation set up within the manor, transporting to Green Yuan army's encampment at Heaven's facing horizon. When they reached their destination, Night Sorrow saw 4 neat barracks. These were the 4 divisions of the Green Phoenix army. The situation of the army was different from what Night Sorrow had imagined. There weren't that many soldiers. After probing with his soul power, Night Sorrow discovered 4 armies, each with only 4,000 soldiers. As if he had seen through Night Sorrow's thoughts, Zhuo Tingyun opened his mouth. The Green Phoenix army doesn't want trash, they only want elites. That's why there aren't many people, only 17,000. 10 people form a small team, and the leader is a small team leader. 100 people form a large team, and the leader is a large team leader. 1,000 people form a large team, and the leader is a commander. What about the other 1,000? Night Sorrow nodded at Zhuo Tingyun. It's the Green Phoenix battalion that this commander commands. It's independent of the 4 armies. Zhuo Tingyun explained to Night Sorrow once again. Qinghuan led a group of people into the command tent and sat down. After a while, a few people came to the tent to pay their respects. Has it been quiet recently? Have there been any movements from the Red Emperor's nation and the Dark Abyss? Princess Qinghuan asked. The Red Emperor's nation has been mobilized from time to time, but there have been no abnormal movements. However, the Dark Abyss's army has shown signs of invading. Even if the princess doesn't return, this subordinate still has to report. A middle-aged man bowed and reported. The middle-aged man was wearing a silver armor. His body was emitting a dense killing intent, and his face had a resolute expression. Seems like the war isn't far away. Thunder God General. This time Your Majesty has brought someone to your Thunder God General. Princess Qinghuan said to the man who reported the news, who was the Thunder God General. Reporting to the commander, the Thunder God General's organization is complete. We don't need any more people. This subordinate will also seriously recruit new people. The Thunder God General said, "In the Green Phoenix Army, there is no nepotism. Your Majesty also won't use any connections. He is Night Sorrow. Whether or not he is suitable for the Thunder God General is enough." Princess Qingyuan said. Facing the Thunder God General, she was also somewhat helpless. The Thunder God General's temperament was like this. It could even be said that he was somewhat old-fashioned. "Elder Zhua, bring Night Sorrow out for a walk. Tell me about the Thunder God General's situation." After explaining her position, Princess Qingyuan nodded to Zhua Tingyun. Zhua Tingyun bowed and led Yi Shang and the others out of the tent. Then he talked about the history of the Green Phoenix Army, their military exploits, and their rules. Within the Green Phoenix Army, only those with the rank of captain and above could not stay in the barracks. The other soldiers had to stay in the barracks to train and cultivate. Don't blame the Thunder God General for rejecting you. In the Green Phoenix Army, the Thunder God General is the strongest, the most cohesive army, and also the army with the most outstanding military achievements. There were many people who held high positions in the Qing Emperor's empire, who wanted to send their descendants to the Thunder God General for military achievements. In the end, they were chased away by the Thunder God General. On this point, the Thunder God General will not give face to anyone, including the princes and imperial descendants. Zhua Tingyun said. The commander of the army must be upright and plain-spoken. He must adhere to his principles. Otherwise, how can he convince the masses and lead the army? Night Sorrow understands this point and also admires it. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that the Thunder God General did not want him. In the command tent, the Thunder God General said, "Commander, that person is too young." Although it is very impressive that he has the cultivation of a 2-star king at such a young age, the Thunder God General has always been in a bloodbath. He might not be able to withstand it. Haha. Thunder God General, you are looking down on him. His name is Night Sorrow. Since his debut, he has been fighting for his destiny. He has experienced many battles big and small. Moreover, he was once a commander and has led many world wars. He is not joining the Thunder God General for military achievements. He really has the ability. Do you think your Majesty will joke about the Thunder God General? Princess Green Phoenix said. She understood that the Thunder God General looked down on Night Sorrow. If the Thunder God General does not want him, my Black Armored Army will. An old man with a thick beard said. He was the Black Armored Army's commander, Zhu Xuanjia. When the Green Phoenix Army was established, the 4 commanders were the commanders who supported the Green Phoenix Army. Therefore, the 4 armies of the Green Phoenix Army had the names of the 4 commanders. No, Thunder God General, bring Night Sorrow over. This is a military order. As for whether he can become a small or large captain, it will depend on his own ability. In the future, he will be a normal soldier in the Thunder God General. Your Majesty's relationship with him has nothing to do with the Green Phoenix Army. Princess Green Phoenix said. This subordinate understands. Qin Leitang bowed and said. Then let's go. Bring him over and take a look. Your Majesty is also curious to see how far he can go. Princess Green Phoenix said. This commander will also go and take a look. Zhu Xuanjia was very interested in Night Sorrow. The other 2 commanders also followed. They all wanted to know what was so special about this person that Princess Green Phoenix thought highly of. After the few of them left the tent, they called out Night Sorrow and the other 2 and came to the tent where the Thunder God General was located. Night Sorrow, this lord is the Thunder God General Qin Leitang. The commander wants you to join the Thunder God General. To be honest, this lord does not want you. However, military orders cannot be ignored. Now this lord has a few questions to ask you. If this lord is not satisfied, you can go back to where you came from. Qin Leitang looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow understands. Commander, please ask. Night Sorrow said. What is the most important thing in an army? Qin Leitang asked. The army's soul, morale, unity and the commander's wisdom. Night Sorrow said. Tell me. Qin Leitang was stunned for a moment. Chapter 1931. The Dark Ruler is a woman? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. Yes, she's a strong, scheming, and domineering woman. She's the #1 woman in the world of reincarnation. Summer City nodded. Women are good at scheming. We should be careful. Night Sorrow nodded. What are you talking about? Lanning glanced at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow raised his head and found several sharp gazes looking at him. Hong Yi, Lanning, and Qing Wan were all looking at him. I don't mean what you think. What I mean is that women are meticulous and think things through carefully, so we have to be careful. I don't mean anything else. What are you thinking? Yi Shan said, somewhat speechless. Night Sorrow then went down the city wall and set up a few formations. It wasn't a trap, but it would definitely be effective in a big battle. After setting up the formations, Night Sorrow patrolled the city and asked about the losses. Night Sorrow then learned that they had lost 2 armies. The main reason was that the Lin Luan army had started to suffer heavy losses. Most % new 3 chapters G. On LD Cool, Craftsman F. Net B. After writing the battle report, Night Sorrow went to the top of the city gate. When the Dark Ruler gives the order, I'll slaughter your fragrant jade city. Seeing Night Sorrow's leisurely attitude, Shirshua was filled with anger. Idiot! When you attacked me just now, I didn't put up any defenses. But you didn't dare. Why don't you try attacking me now? Let's see if you'll leave behind another 4 armies. Night Sorrow sneered. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Shirshua was so angry that his head buzzed. However, he didn't dare to attack just now, and there was no news from the Bone Palace. Shirshua's messenger also passed the news to the Great Bone Hall. Human nature. Once he understands the worries and misgivings of others, the war won't be easy to fight. Rowan, send someone to kill that guy. Then we'll fight again. With this thorn in our side, we won't be a match for him. The Darkness Lord made his decision after hearing the messenger's words. What about the bloodthirsty army? Rowan asked. Retreat to Blackwater Town and wait for this brat to die. Dark Ruler Datira gave the order. Shirshua retreated with the bloodthirsty army because he couldn't take down Fragrant Sky City. Night Sorrow nodded to Qing Luan. Send the news back to the Empire. Unless there's a big change or they come up with a plan, the situation will go back to how it was before. The Bloodthirsty Legion retreated. After confirming that the Bloodthirsty Legion had returned to Blackwater Town, Night Sorrow led his men back to the 9-story tower and Heaven Tiger Pass. In the Azure Sky Pavilion, the Azure Supreme Tharch was reading the battle report. The ruler of darkness, Mandela, once said that if she personally led the army, she could take down our Azure Supreme Tharch Empire and the Red Emperor Kingdom at any time. This time, they were slapped in the face. They lost 4 more armies. How can they fight? More than a dozen armies were wiped out just like that. Our Azure Emperor dynasty's losses added up to only 1 army. The difference is huge. However, given Mandela's personality, she won't give up just like that. She probably has something else up her sleeve, Xian Daozi said. Her backup plan is probably the same as the Red Emperor's. She wants to kill Night Sorrow. But do you think it's that easy? Besides, Night Sorrow's doppelganger is out there. It's impossible for them to kill Night Sorrow. Qing Emperor sneered. Night Sorrow returned to Ninechong Tower and received many visitors, including princes and officials. This time, Night Sorrow raised the prestige of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. World of Reincarnation, Heaven-Seizing Island. This was a special country. The island owner, Zhan Taiyang, was one of the giants in the world of reincarnation. If the East District of the world of reincarnation had 3 top forces, then the North District was dominated by the Heaven-Seizing Island. Zhan Taiyang was reading the information about the East District of the world of reincarnation. Island owner, this Night Sorrow is the person I divined. Because we were far away, the Qing Emperor got the upper hand. A man said. He was the chief diviner of Wuyo Archipelago, Jiang Wuyu. In a situation where the major powers can't easily make a move, with such an invincible commander, the development of the Azure Divine Empire will be very stable. Furthermore, his potential is also very shocking. This island lord has outstanding talent, and is worthy for this island lord to use the heaven-seizing technique, Zhan Taiyang said. But if we do that, the Qing Emperor might go crazy. Jiang Wuyu was stunned. He will go crazy? Who will he go crazy with? Now that the Qing Emperor's dynasty and the Dark Abyss are in a confrontation, he will look for Datura Datura. This blame will be taken by Datura Datura. All right, you will be in charge of the matters of the heaven-seizing island. I will go out for a walk. Zhang Taiyang said, and left the main hall of the heaven-seizing island. Jiang Wuyu knew that the world of reincarnation was going to be chaotic. The East District of the world of reincarnation was already chaotic. If Zhang Taiyang acted, it would be even more chaotic. Originally, Zhang Taiyang's aptitude was very ordinary. The reason why he was able to have such great achievements now was because of a strange technique that he had researched, the heaven-seizing technique. It could be used to steal other people's cultivation aptitude, and even their attributes. This was one of the important reasons for Zhang Taiyang's achievements. However, the heaven-seizing technique was an evil technique. It had a great effect on karma. Therefore, Zhang Taiyang wouldn't act unless he met a cultivator with heaven-defying talent. In the Dark Abyss, Datura Datura told Rowan and set out. Night Sorrow's existence was a hindrance to the development of the Dark Abyss. He had to be eliminated. Night Sorrow stayed in the 9-story tower every day. When he was free, he would deduce formations like his clone in the heaven-sealing hall. The Qing Emperor gave Night Sorrow a manual on formations. At the same time, he also understood the heaven-sealing formation and the heaven-locking formation. These two formations were extensive and profound. The heaven-locking formation was a natural formation that contained the truth of heaven. The heaven-sealing formation was the essence of the Qing Emperor's cultivation in formations. Night Sorrow didn't know that he was in danger now. Many people were eyeing him covetously and were about to act. Night Sorrow didn't know, but the Qing Emperor and Summer City knew that the secret guards of the Qing Emperor's palace had been lurking outside the 9-story tower, and dealt with several groups of assassins from the Red Emperor's kingdom. Summer City also felt the crisis. As a cultivator who had cultivated for countless years, he knew how deep the water in the world of samsara was. Night Sorrow's existence made all forces feel the crisis. Not to mention other things, the Red Emperor's kingdom and the Dark Abyss didn't want Night Sorrow to live. Night Sorrow was a threat now. When he grew up, he would be a greater threat. Summer City arranged Fei Xiu and Shen Han to patrol the 9-story tower every day, not giving anyone a chance to sneak in. Night Sorrow, who didn't feel anything at first, also felt the crisis. After thinking for a while, he gathered his family members together. Night Sorrow, is there anything wrong? Yu Qing looked at her son and asked. Chapter 1932. Then are you going back? Xikong Qiyu asked. I still have things to do here, so I can't leave. Besides, I have Uncle Xiao's protection, Fei Xiu, and the others. My personal safety is not a problem. I'm just worried that someone will attack you and use you to threaten me, Night Sorrow said. All right, let's do as Night Sorrow says. Let's not make him worry, Yi Wuyo said. Yi Shang bowed to his father. His father supported him in everything he did. After sending his family away, Night Sorrow felt much more at ease. Looking at Night Sorrow, who was deep in thought, Hong Yi made a pot of tea for Night Sorrow. At this moment, Hong Yi and Lanning were clones. They had used time acceleration in the space-time pagoda to successfully condense their clones. I don't need anyone to take care of me. You can go back. Night Sorrow looked at Hong Yi and Lanning. He wanted to chase Xuexi away, but Hong Yi and Lanning insisted. Their clones were king, so they had to serve Night Sorrow. Young master, don't say any more. We are clones. Even if something happens, no one can use us to threaten you, Hong Yi said with a smile. All right. You win. Then that's it. No one can do anything to us if they come looking for trouble. Night Sorrow nodded and drank his tea. Night Sorrow studied Array Dao every day. In addition, he watched the army train. The God-slaying team also trained with the army. Everyone's cultivation improved very quickly, especially Tianyu and Yi Mei. Both of them were now Saint Kings. Night Sorrow had to admire them for this. Talented monster beasts were powerful. Some bottlenecks did not exist at all. Returning to Origin, which had blocked countless people, was nothing to them. Some others had also entered the Saint Realm because Night Sorrow had given them a batch of Saint Crystals. There was no problem for them to enter the Saint Realm. Night Sorrow told them that if they wanted to practice combat, they could train with the Nine Heavens Army. If they wanted to improve their cultivation, they had to return to Sky City. Night Sorrow had his wife bring the space-time pagoda back to Sky City. He didn't need the space-time pagoda now, but many people around him needed it. Night Sorrow did not have to worry about the Heaven Tiger Pass because Nu Lin was there. Nu Lin was quite talented, and with Night Sorrow's support, the other commanders were willing to help him defend the Heaven Tiger Pass. That night Sorrow was resting on the recliner with his eyes closed when Qing Yuan came. After inviting Green Phoenix to sit down, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. Is there a problem with the Green Phoenix army? Yes, Junior Brother Yi. You should be clear about the original situation of the Green Phoenix army. After the Thunder army left, their strength decreased a lot. Later on, they merged with the Green Qilin army. Speaking of which, it was to fight with you. Now that this situation is no longer necessary, I plan to make some changes. The formation of the Nine Heavens Army has indeed decreased the strength of the Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix armies. You can ask Master to see if he can replenish the troops. Night Sorrow knew that the strength of the Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix armies was not as good as before. Father said that he won't ask about the matters of the armies now. You can make the decision. Green Phoenix said. Her face was a little unnatural. She was the real princess, but now she had to listen to Night Sorrow. Mainly because she had made things difficult for Night Sorrow some time ago, so she was a little embarrassed at this moment. The Nine Heavens Army has 7 armies, but they are all newly formed. Now is a special time, so we can't touch them. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, I don't have any ideas about the Nine Heavens Army. Junior Brother Night, see if you can give a military order to Pine Yuan City's army to have Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix replenish an army each. Only then can our army be considered complete. Green Phoenix hurriedly explained. She did not want Night Sorrow to misunderstand that she was thinking about the Nine Heavens Army. A while ago, Pine Yuan City replenished our Nine Heavens Army with 2 armies. We don't know if they still have the ability to do so. Rashly giving a military order might make things difficult for them. How about this? Let's go to Pine Yuan City and see what the army there has to say. Night Sorrow said. Then many thanks, Junior Brother Night. Green Phoenix stood up and cupped her hands towards Night Sorrow. SQ is the fastest, go cool 2 craftsmen. Afterwards, Night Sorrow brought Summer City and Qing Emperor's guard squad to Pine Yuan City. Pine Yuan City's army was very courteous when they saw Night Sorrow. Now that Night Sorrow was the Empire's #1 commander, he could command all the armies and guards. It's like this. Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix armies are not fully staffed and want to replenish. Pine Yuan City replenished the Nine Heavens Army with 2 armies a while ago, so I came to see if the situation allows Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix armies to expand. Night Sorrow explained his intentions. This is a bit rushed, but Your Majesty can give this subordinate 3 months. Right now we are all new. If we rashly transfer them away, their combat strength will also be a problem. Pine Yuan City's army commander said. Alright, then I'll trouble you. When the time is right, replenish Azure Qilin and Green Phoenix armies. By the way, I'm not overstepping my authority by asking about this matter, right? Night Sorrow asked. Not at all. This doesn't count. Right now, everything in Pine Yuan City should be reported to Your Majesty. It's just that there have been many things recently, so this subordinate wasn't in a hurry. Pine Yuan City's army commander bowed. Afterwards, Night Sorrow brought his men and Green Phoenix back to the 9 grand floors. The situation is like this. Princess can only wait for 3 more months. Thank you, Junior Brother Night. Thank you for your magnanimity and for not bickering with Green Phoenix. Green Phoenix cupped her hands towards Night Sorrow. Today, she had seen Night Sorrow's magnanimity and felt a bit guilty. It's nothing. If there are any problems with your defense line, let me know. Night Sorrow shook his head. Looking at Green Phoenix's departing figure, Summer City said, Your Majesty really doesn't care about her and Azure Qilin being ostracized? What's there to care about? Her father's empire having some thoughts is understandable. Let's just let it pass. The main thing is that I can't make Master unhappy. Night Sorrow said. Yes, His Majesty taking you as his disciple is really worry-free, Summer City said. The two of them didn't know that Zhang Taiyang had already arrived at the Qing Emperor's city. He hid his cultivation and walked around the Qing Emperor's city. It was easy for him to find the 9 grand floors. Then he stayed in an inn not far from the 9 grand floors. He wanted to observe the situation. Night sorrow was very important to him. The king of time and space dual attributes was worthy of him, using the heaven-seizing technique. In the world of reincarnation, there were many king of life, death, and space, but almost none of the king of time attribute. The time attribute was very difficult to comprehend. It was the most powerful attribute in the world of reincarnation. Zhang Taiyang felt that if he could use the heaven-seizing technique on Night Sorrow, regardless of whether he could break through the bottleneck, his battle strength would increase greatly. He would be able to suppress the few big shots in the world of reincarnation. Not long after Zhang Taiyang stayed in the inn, Datura also appeared. She was wearing a simple black dress with Datura flowers embroidered on it. It was very unique. Chapter 1933. Night Sorrow felt a little strange. He couldn't describe this feeling, but he felt a little uneasy. He brewed a pot of heart-cleansing tea, but it was still the same. He didn't understand the situation. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow asked Hong Yi to teleport to 7 Night City and City in the Sky to take a look. He also instructed the guards of the Inter-Realm Teleportation Formation. Then he went to Sky Tiger Pass to check on everything. After that, Night Sorrow brought Summer City to the Merit Hall of the Qing Emperor's Palace to exchange for the secret method to refine the Inter-Realm Teleportation Stone. He planned to find time to refine the Inter-Realm Teleportation Stone. Only then could the 9 regions world truly rest in peace, Wuyo. Night Sorrow also asked about it. His contribution points in the Qing Emperor's Palace had already reached 3 million. This was a report from the military after several wars. The Qing Emperor had personally approved it. Contribution points were hard currency. They could be exchanged for cultivation time in the Reincarnation Palace, resources, and so on. Night Sorrow didn't need to exchange for anything. He now had 130 years of cultivation time in the Reincarnation Palace. When he needed it, it would probably be the next time he went into seclusion. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow took the teleportation formation to 7 Night City and refined the Inter-Realm Teleportation Stone. In other words, as long as he didn't bring anyone with a higher cultivation than him, they wouldn't be able to enter the 9 regions world through the teleportation formation. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that he didn't need to deal with the teleportation formation connected to the Wuji world. Yen Tianpa wouldn't allow King to enter the Wuji world. The teleportation formation was connected to his soul. As long as someone's cultivation was higher than him, he would be alerted and could control the teleportation. After doing this, Night Sorrow felt a little more at ease. Then he took the teleportation formation back to the 9 regions building. Your Highness should be relieved now. The 9 regions world is impregnable. Even a powerhouse can't forcefully attack it, Summer City said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the 9 regions world was safe, but he was still a little nervous. However, he didn't say anything else. At this moment, a figure appeared outside the 9 regions building. A large hand grabbed towards Night Sorrow. How dare you? Summer City took a step forward and slashed out with his saber. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. A cold voice rang out as the giant hand in the air smashed downwards. Damn it, so you're Zhang Taiyang, that shameless old man. Summer City slashed furiously with his saber, but the big fist in the air kept smashing down. Your Highness, let's go. Summer City roared angrily. He was no match for Zhang Taiyang. Zhang Taiyang was a sky pillar with a cultivation level higher than the monarch realm. He was just stuck at a bottleneck and had not reached the 9th rank. He was not someone he could fight against. If you want to stop me, then you can die. He can forget about leaving as well. Soaring fire sky. Zhang Taiyang, who was in the air, spread out his left hand and countless flames surrounded the 9 stories pavilion. You're not qualified to kill my Summer City. Your Highness, stand behind me. 7 killers of the universe. Summer City waved his saber and gathered the energy of heaven and earth. He wanted to kill his way out and take Night Sorrow away. With a muffled sound, Zhang Taiyang's fist was shattered by Summer City. Summer City brought Night Sorrow out of the pavilion, but he was blocked by Zhang Taiyang again. You don't know what's good for you. Then die. Zhang Taiyang's body danced. His right hand gathered red and black energy and attacked Summer City. With a muffled sound, Summer City's body was pushed back and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Zhang Taiyang's will was complete, and he was not someone he could fight against, so he was severely injured. Zhang Taiyang, you're courting death. At this moment, an angry roar rang out. Then a sword light appeared. This sword light seemed to have cut open space and the world as it slashed towards Zhang Taiyang. It was the Qing Emperor. The Qing Emperor had arrived. When Zhang Taiyang attacked, Summer City had sent a message. Even if Summer City did not send a message, Zhang Taiyang's all-out attack had attracted the attention of the Qing Emperor. After the Qing Emperor arrived, he started fighting with Zhang Taiyang in the sky above the 9 grand floors. He was furious. Night Sorrow was his favorite disciple. Now that Zhang Taiyang attacked Night Sorrow, it was the same as slapping his face. How could he not be angry? Uncle Summer, how are you? Night Sorrow supported Summer City and fed Summer City elixir of life and elixir of origin. This shameless old man. Summer City cursed. Now that Master is here, everything will be fine. Uncle Summer, heal your wounds first. Night Sorrow helped Summer City sit down and watched the battle in the sky. Zhang Taiyang did not want to expose himself at first, but after observing for a while, he realized that Summer City was Night Sorrow's follower and would not leave Night Sorrow's side. He had no choice but to get Summer City under his control first. After all, he was not afraid of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. However, he did not expect Summer City to be so strong that he stopped him directly. Qing Emperor, I want this disciple of yours. Go and get another one. A figure flew out from Zhang Taiyang's body and rushed towards Night Sorrow. A big hand grabbed Night Sorrow and dragged him away. This figure was Zhang Taiyang's clone. He realized that he could not defeat the Qing Emperor, so he did not want to waste any more time. He wanted to capture Night Sorrow and leave. How dare you? Qing Emperor slashed at Zhang Taiyang's clone with a sword light. However, Zhang Taiyang's clone dodged Qing Emperor's sword light. Cut. At this time, a blade light came out from the space crack. It was aimed at Zhang Taiyang's back after he dodged Qing Emperor's sword light. Before the blade light, there was a black light wave that controlled Zhang Taiyang's clone. Then the blade light cut Zhang Taiyang's clone into 2 halves. Datira, you and I are irreconcilable enemies. Zhang Taiyang roared. He suffered a great loss when his clone was cut down. Now, Datira was holding the storage ring of his clone in her left hand. Datira was holding a black battle saber with patterns on it in her right hand, and the storage ring of Zhang Taiyang's clone in her left hand. Night Sorrow was also imprisoned by her side. You and I are irreconcilable enemies? Are you trying to scare me? Let me tell you, this is the eastern region of the world of Samsara. I can do whatever I want with Qing Emperor and Red Emperor. If you dare to come, I will kill you. Datira said to Zhang Taiyang. All of you remember this. Zhang Taiyang roared. His body emitted a red light, and his body drew an arc in the air as he flashed away. Zhang Taiyang, I have something to deal with today. Otherwise, I will kill you. Qing Emperor didn't chase after him. Instead, he looked at Datira, who had caught Night Sorrow. Qing Emperor, don't look at me like I am your enemy. I snatched him from Zhang Taiyang. Datira pulled Night Sorrow to his side with his left hand. Are you doing this for no reason? Qing Emperor looked at Datira and said, do you think I'll care if there's a name or not? This guy killed 11 soldiers of my dark abyss. I can't do anything to him. Datira's eyes were full of killing intent. In 2 wars, Night Sorrow killed 11 soldiers of the dark abyss. It was a slap to Datira's face. He is the commander of the army. There is nothing wrong with commanding the war, right? As long as you let him go, I promise you that he will no longer participate in the war between the Qing Emperor's dynasty and the Dark Abyss. Qing Emperor said. Chapter 1934. Looking at Night Sorrow who was captured, Qing Emperor actually compromised. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that Knight Sorrow would no longer participate in the army battle. Hehe. There is no room for discussion. I will take him away. You can't stop me. You reap what you sow. Datura shook his head. Do you really want me to fight to the death with you? Qing Emperor's long sword flowed with a green light. It could be seen that his emotions were fluctuating. Master, this disciple has troubled you. But what can she do to me? Go. Knight Sorrow roared. A green light appeared on his body. He broke through space with his storage ring and weapons and entered the space turbulence. What did you do? Datura looked at Knight Sorrow suspiciously and asked. I didn't do anything. I gave away all the important things on me. Now, I am just a clone. You can kill me if you want. Using me to threaten my master? You think too much. Knight Sorrow said coldly. Haha. Good. Qing Emperor laughed loudly. You want to challenge me? Who do you think I am? I have never been threatened by anyone. I have many ways to make you compromise. Datura's energy that wrapped around Knight Sorrow vibrated. Who knows, it might shatter Knight Sorrow in the next moment. Are you trying to scare me? There is no harm in telling you. What just left was the world's origin. I am the Realm Lord. In my world, I am immortal. Can you bite me? Let me tell you, from today onwards, I will fight you. Master, don't be threatened by him. I have a treasure that can accelerate space. Cultivating a clone will take a few years. Knight Sorrow looked coldly at Datura. How much soul energy do you have to cultivate a clone? Datura narrowed his eyes and looked at Knight Sorrow. I'm sorry, but I refined a bunch of supplement spirit pills. Do you think I'm not afraid of losing my clone? Knight Sorrow said with a smile on his face. All right, let's see how she's going to play. At worst, you can just disperse this avatar. Master will help you settle your grudge. Qing Emperor was also confident in his heart because Datura really couldn't do anything to Knight Sorrow. New chapter 0. Cool craftsman Datura grabbed Knight Sorrow and left in a flash. Qing Emperor didn't chase after him because it was useless. Knight Sorrow was in Datura's hands, and he couldn't snatch it away. At this time, Summer City had recovered a little. Your Majesty, it's my fault for not protecting Knight Sorrow well. No one can protect him. Knight Sorrow should have dispersed his avatar directly. That way, I could have fought and helped him vent his anger. Qing Emperor said with a frown. It's not that His Highness doesn't have guts. It's just that His Highness's original body is cultivating in the Samsara Palace. If his avatar died at this time, it would affect his original body's cultivation, Summer City said. I see. Then let's wait. Summer City, you go back with me first. When Knight Sorrow comes back, you can come back. Qing Emperor looked at Summer City and said. His Highness isn't here. I have to look after the house. I'll wait for His Highness in the Nine Chong Tower, Summer City said. When they returned to the Qing Emperor's palace, Qing Emperor told Xian Daozi and Zhan Tan about this. Bastard! How dare they attack junior brother? Master, I'm going to fight. I'm going to make a river of blood flow in the dark abyss. Zhan Tan's body was full of murderous intent. This matter had crossed his bottom line. Okay. Just teach them a lesson. Remember, after killing them, retreat. Go somewhere else and kill them. Qing Emperor nodded. He was also a man with guts. Datura's actions had angered him. Then Qing Emperor called Tan Lin, asking him to go to the Nine Chong Tower and Sky Tiger Pass to stabilize the Nine Heavens army. But in reality, even if Tan Lin went, it would be useless. The 7 generals of the Nine Heaven army gathered and expressed their stance. The Nine Heaven army would only listen to the imperial decree and Yi Shang's orders. Unless Yi Shang died or Yi Shang personally said that he did not care about the Nine Heaven army anymore, no one else could interfere. If there was a problem, they would resolve it. When Tan Lin returned to report, he thought Qing Emperor would be angry. Unexpectedly, Qing Emperor only nodded and said, This is what it means to lead an army. Don't ask about the Nine Heavens army for now. They aren't brainless people. Datura brought Knight Sorrow to the Dark Abyss and Whitebone Hall. He tossed Knight Sorrow into the hall. Datura's dress was embroidered with Datura's flower. Datura, then sat down on the white bone throne. You don't have to be so rude. Either you kill me, or be more polite. There's no point in beating me up like this, said Night Sorrow as he stood up and tidied up his battle robes after being thrown to the ground. Ruler, who is this? Rowan asked. As Rowan spoke, Demon Blood, who was standing in the White Bone Hall, took action. He punched Night Sorrow and sent him flying. Then he pulled out his great sword and slashed at Night Sorrow. Stop! Demon Blood, you are too impudent. Datira waved his arm, sending Demon Blood flying. Ruler, please punish me. However, he killed 11 legions of the Dark Abyss. All of the Demon Blood Legion's soldiers died at his hands. Demon Blood said as he knelt on one knee before Datira. Night Sorrow stood up and straightened out his robes again. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked at Demon Blood. You still have the face to say that? That wasn't my problem, nor was it the Dark Abyss's problem. A general can't exhaust 1,000 soldiers. You deserve to die. Demon Blood wanted nothing more than to cut Night Sorrow into 1,000 pieces. However, without Datira's permission, he didn't dare. Night Sorrow, tell me, what do you want in order for me to serve you? Datira asked Night Sorrow. Then you should just kill me. Night Sorrow didn't refuse. However, his words left no room for negotiation. You will come to your senses. Men, bring him to the Dragonbone Hall and lock him up, Datira ordered. Then, someone escorted Night Sorrow to the Dragonbone Hall and locked him up with a meteorite chain that had been reinforced by an array formation. Night Sorrow wanted to brew tea, but the tea set and wine were in his storage ring. The 9 regions origin bead had taken them away, and they were still flying toward the 9 regions world. With nothing to do, Night Sorrow sat down to meditate and deduce an array formation. 4 hours later, Datira arrived at the Dragonbone Hall. How about it? Think about it. Whatever the Qing Emperor can give you, I can give you too. The commander can, and so can His Highness. The Qing Emperor has a son. You aren't the only highness in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, but you can in the Dark Abyss. I have no descendants or disciples. If you agree, you will be the only highness in the Dark Abyss, Datira said as he sat on the main seat in the Dragonbone Hall. Ruler, you are very sincere. However, Master has treated me well. I can't betray him. I can only say that I am not fated with the Dark Abyss, Night Sorrow said. However, you should know that I was the one who saved you from Zhan Taiyang. Do you know who Zhan Taiyang is? Island Lord Duotian. His talent is at the level of trash, but he developed a special technique, the heaven seizing technique. It can seize other people's talent, opportunities, and luck. Don't be fooled by your avatar. Even if you disperse your avatar, he can still capture your soul power and use some methods. Therefore, you should be grateful, Datira said as he brewed tea. Chapter 1935. You are the first person to speak to me in the Dragonbone Palace. I will give you some tea. Datira waved her arm, and the small tea table in front of her flew to Night Sorrow. I am already in this state. Who do I need to be polite to? Night Sorrow took the tea set and started to make tea. Night Sorrow knew very well that it was impossible for him to betray the Qing Emperor's empire. Datira would also not let him go. This doppelganger would definitely be destroyed. The reason why he was delaying it now was so that he would not interrupt the cultivation of his original body. The Dragonbone Palace is where I rest and cultivate. Think about it carefully. If you have any requests, I will definitely satisfy you. I am ruthless, broad-minded, and magnanimous. For example, I offended Zhan Taiyang for the sake of the world of reincarnation's eastern region, Datira said. If you can prove that Zhan Taiyang can hurt my doppelganger, then I, Night Sorrow, will owe you a favor. Night Sorrow took a sip of tea and said, Your favor is useless. I can do whatever you can do. I see that you are a talent. I hope that you will serve me and the Dark Abyss. Datira glanced at Night Sorrow. She did not care about Night Sorrow's favor. Don't bully the young. Who knows what will happen in the future? Night Sorrow did not take Datira's disdain to heart. Are you really not willing to serve me and the Dark Abyss? The army of the Dark Abyss is strong and has more people. It will give you more space to perform. Datira stared into Night Sorrow's eyes and asked, I really hate war. War represents death. Therefore, I really can't serve the Dark Abyss, Night Sorrow said. Then you should know that I won't let you leave. Also, according to your character recorded in the information, and you've made preparations, why don't you disperse your clone? Why are you in a stalemate with me? Datira was puzzled. Let's not beat around the bush. My main body is currently in cultivation retreat. It is currently in the midst of a state of epiphany. I am not afraid of my doppelganger dying. However, it would disrupt my main body's epiphany. It would be best to minimize the losses. Whenever you want to kill me, just do it, said Night Sorrow after taking a sip of tea. Epiphany. It seems you are really a talent. Datira swayed her skirt and sat on the praying mat to meditate. Night Sorrow also began to meditate. He continued to deduce the array formation and studied the essence of the heaven-locking array and heaven-sealing array. 3 days later, someone came to Dragonbone Palace to request an audience. It was Luowan. After Luowan entered, he reported to Datira that the Qing Emperor dynasty's sandalwood was massacring the towns and fortresses of the Dark Abyss. Several city lords, commanders, and generals had already been killed. Is this guy crazy? Datira frowned. That lunatic said that as long as we imprison his junior brother, Night Sorrow, he will slaughter the Dark Abyss. Those city lords and generals can't stop him at all. His targets are the leaders of some of the Dark Abyss's cities and armies, Luowan reported. It seems the bond between brothers is deep. Night Sorrow, you have been in the Qing Emperor dynasty for less than a year, right? Why would Sandalwood risk his life for you? Datira looked at Night Sorrow in confusion. I can do anything for senior brother. Senior brother naturally wouldn't stand by and do nothing while I am imprisoned, Night Sorrow said. You can do anything for him? It seems the relationship between you two isn't simple. Datira discovered the meaning behind Night Sorrow's words. That's right. Senior brother is imprisoned in the Devil Sealing Tower by Master. I often visit him. We are the only disciples under Master, so we naturally have to support each other. Night Sorrow nodded. You were the one who cured his madness? Datira asked after some thought. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Genuine Edition. One first shot. This wasn't because Datira was smart. It was because Sandalwood had been imprisoned for 5 million years. If the Qing Emperor and the others could cure him, Sandalwood wouldn't have been so crazy. Night Sorrow had been in the Qing Emperor dynasty, and Sandalwood had recovered. The two were naturally related. Yes. Night Sorrow didn't try to hide it. It seems you are quite capable. Tell Sandalwood that Night Sorrow is a guest in the Dark Abyss. I have no plans to kill him yet. If he acts recklessly again, I will immediately kill his junior brother, Datira instructed Rowan. Ruler, don't we need to send someone to kill him? Rowan asked in a low voice. If I don't act, no one in the Dark Abyss can kill him. At most, they can force him to retreat. It's meaningless. Just follow my orders. He will retreat. Datira waved his hand, dismissing Rowan. Glancing at Night Sorrow, Datira continued to meditate. Now that Night Sorrow wasn't willing to compromise, there was nothing she could do. Killing him was just a clone. There wasn't much point in doing so. It was useless to force him. When he couldn't bear it or wasn't willing to bear it, Night Sorrow would disperse the clone. When that happened, Datira would have done all her work for nothing. Not only would she have offended the Qing Emperor, but she would also have offended Zhang Taiyang. Of course, Datira wasn't afraid, but she would still be at a disadvantage. Sandalwood retreated, but before he left behind a message. If anything happened to Night Sorrow's clone, he would carry out an endless slaughter in the Dark Abyss. A threat was a threat. After returning to the Qing Emperor's palace, Sandalwood reported to the Qing Emperor. He didn't want to force Datira too much. After all, it was better not to lose Night Sorrow's clone. You did the right thing. Your junior brother is fine in her hands. The worst outcome would be your junior brother losing one of his clones. If it fell into Zhang Taiyang's hands, that would be a huge problem. Datura helped us this time. Qing Emperor said. Your Majesty, many people have their eyes on His Highness Knight Sorrow. The fact that Zhang Taiyang and Mandela took action proves this point. He is different from Her Highness Sandalwood. When Her Highness Sandalwood traveled the world, she already had the ability to protect herself. His Highness Knight Sorrow is still lacking, said Xian Daozi. Not really. Knight Sorrow is a realm lord. His ability to protect himself is still very strong, unless he meets an evil person like Zhang Taiyang. However, Zhang Taiyang also suffered heavy losses this time. Qing Emperor said. Your Majesty, you can tell His Highness that if he meets with danger next time, he can just disperse his clone and leave with the world origin bead wrapped in his soul power. That way, the enemy can't do anything. Xian Daozi said. Let's wait for Knight Sorrow to return. Let's see how he and Datura will end this time. Qing Emperor nodded. He felt that he had overlooked some problems. Datura was very quiet. After knowing that Sandalwood had retreated, she had been meditating quietly every day. She didn't send out any troops to fight the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Knight Sorrow had been deducing formations every day because he had nothing to do, other than making tea to calm himself down. Although he was chained by the meteorite iron, Knight Sorrow had a rare moment of peace. Datura was the dark ruler. The tea he drank was of the highest quality. Knight Sorrow had been making tea every day and studying formations. It was very relaxing. Chapter 1936. Commander, you can let someone else do this. You don't have to do it yourself, Newlin said. The soldiers of Sky Tiger Army were killed, and I have to bear most of the responsibility. I can't run away from this. I have to bear the consequences of my actions. Just do as I say. Knight Sorrow rejected Newlin's suggestion. He had to kill Chi-Du then. Knight Sorrow set up a teleportation array in Sky Tiger Pass. The main reason was that Heaven Tiger Pass could not afford to lose the teleportation crystal in its main teleportation array. Now, using a teleportation crystal that could be cut into a teleportation crystal to set up the teleportation array was enough. After setting up the teleportation array, Knight Sorrow brought people out of Sky Tiger Pass. To make it less of a target, Knight Sorrow only brought Summer City, Facio, and the Scout. Red Coat and Blue Shadow left Knight Sorrow in Sky Tiger Pass. After leaving Sky Tiger Pass, Knight Sorrow closed the sealed sky matrix. Then, under the guidance of the Scout, they went to the area where the Chi-Du army was and set up an ambush. Your Highness, we don't know how they're going to move the armies. We only know that Akatsuki has formed an army. Will this plan work? Summer City asked. It will. No matter how they move, we just have to keep an eye on the Chi-Du army. When the other two armies can't help, that's when we can eat them up, Knight Sorrow said. Knight Sorrow felt that no matter how the Red Emperor's armies moved, the three armies couldn't move together. As long as the three legions split up to deal with the Green Qilin and Green Phoenix legions, that would be his chance. As long as the Sky Heart and Crimson Painting legions were 2 to 4 hours away from the Chi capital, he would dare to make a move. Summer City nodded. He could see that Knight Sorrow was determined to kill Chi-Du. Knight Sorrow waited for news. He had spies by his side, and the spies' main bodies were in the Heaven Tiger Pass. If there were any battle reports, they would inform him immediately. The Red Emperor's army was very efficient. This was also Akatsuki's first time leading an army into battle. The Red Emperor's officials cooperated fully. In just 2 days, Akatsuki's men were marching towards Sky Tiger Pass. After hearing the report from the Scout, Knight Sorrow waved his arm. Very good. It seems like the army is changing their defense. Akatsuki's men Ma Chang will be blocking the front. However, at Heaven Tiger Pass, Chiwa and the Crimson Dew army will be leaving to block Qinglin and Qingwan. Once they move, it will be our chance. That was Summer City's evaluation of Knight Sorrow. He felt that Knight Sorrow was always able to find the crux of the problem. Chi-Du was being targeted. This was bad luck. Chi-Du received the notice to wait for the Sky Heart army to arrive. He would then go and fight the Green Phoenix army. Chi-Du was convinced by the Red Emperor's arrangements. Although Knight Sorrow didn't give him face and he wanted to kill Knight Sorrow, He knew that his men couldn't fight against the Nine Heaven Army alone. I hope the Crown Prince can intimidate the Nine Heaven Army and kill Night Sorrow. Sector Lord? Even a Sector Lord can fall. Chi-Du murmured. Night Sorrow was thinking about dealing with him. He also wanted to kill Night Sorrow quickly. After all, for countless years, no one had dared to humiliate him. If we want to get rid of him completely, we still need to solve the problem of his original body. The old man beside Chi-Du said. This old man's name was Ganqing. He was the personal bodyguard that the Red Emperor had arranged for Chi-Du. He was also very strong. This bastard is a Sector Lord. His original body is hiding in the Nine Regions world. It is indeed very difficult to kill him. At that time, it was all because of that bitch Green Phoenix. If she didn't interfere, then Night Sorrow might have surrendered to the Nine Heaven world. Chi-Du said. Prince, if you perform well, there might be a possibility of marriage. There is still a chance. Ganqing said. He knew that his young master had always been thinking about Green Phoenix. Yes, after the war, I will find a chance to bring people to slaughter the Nine Heaven world. The Red Emperor's empire and the Qing Emperor's empire are opponents. What can we do if we attack the world they protect? Chi-Du's eyes were full of ferocity. This isn't appropriate. If the Qing Emperor's empire reacts strongly, then the subordinate world of our Red Emperor's empire will also be attacked. Ganqing was a little worried. He was worried that if Chi-Du really did this, it would easily lead to very serious consequences. If the Red Emperor was really angry, then Chi-Du's position in the Red Emperor's empire would drop. He, as a protector, wouldn't have any benefits. I will report this to my father. I may have to pay a price. However, it will cause a knot in Night Sorrow's heart and a serious negative impact on his soul. It is worth it. After all, Night Sorrow is now the first commander of the Qing Emperor's empire. He is also the beloved disciple of the Qing Emperor. If something happens to Night Sorrow, his soul will be covered in dust, and he will not be able to recover. I think it is still worth it. Chi-Du said his thoughts. LLDKT plus 6 version debuts after listening to Chi-Du's explanation. Ganqing felt that it was quite appropriate. After all, Night Sorrow was a very important person in the Qing Emperor's empire. As for the Qing Emperor's empire attacking the subordinate world of the Red Emperor's empire, then the Red Emperor's empire would also retaliate. Both sides would suffer losses, and the final result would still be reconciliation. 2 days later, the Sky Heart Corps arrived 200 miles away from the Sky Tiger Pass and set up camp. At the same time, the Red Emperor's empire's army's order officially arrived. It ordered Chi-Hua and Chi-Du to lead their men to attack the Green Qilin and Green Phoenix Corps. If the Nine Heaven Corps appeared in the area attacked by the Green Qilin and Green Phoenix Corps, then the Sky Heart Corps would rush over to help. After receiving the order, both Chi-Hua and Chi-Du moved and teleported to the nearest city. This caused Night Sorrow's plan to fail. He, Summer City, and Fei Xiu also went to the nearest city. After asking around, they found out that the Chi-Du Corps had teleported to Jinling City, and that Jinling City was close to where the Green Phoenix Corps was attacking. Night Sorrow brought the few people around him and teleported to Jinling City. After arriving at Jinling City, Night Sorrow found out about the Chi-Du Corps' movements. The Chi-Du Corps was stationed outside of Jinling City. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that the Chi-Du Corps was waiting. He wanted to find out the Green Phoenix Corps' movements, and then deal a heavy blow to the Green Phoenix Corps. Inform New Lin, tell Qing Lin and the Qing Yuan army to stop fighting for now, Night Sorrow said to the messenger beside him. Night Sorrow did this to stop the Chi-Du Corps from moving. This way, he would have a chance to deal with them. Your Highness, are you planning to deal with the Chi-Du Corps here? But this place is only an hour away from Jinling City. It's too close. There will be endless reinforcements. It will be very difficult to take them down, Summer City said. Chapter 1937. Hi forever, for a long time too free of charge. Look at G Small. M said. Summer City nodded. He wasn't good at using battle tactics, but he felt that Night Sorrow's method was good enough. The most difficult part of this operation is destroying the teleportation formation. After I've arranged everything, Uncle Summer, You go to Jinling City and destroy the teleportation formation at the agreed time. Then, hide and pay attention to see if there are any hidden teleportation formations. If you see any, continue to attack them. Also, Feishio, you have to go. I'm not strong enough, so you'll be in charge of destroying the teleportation formation. Night Sorrow said to Feishio. Feishio nodded. He knew that this mission was very important. Then I'll get to work. Uncle Summer, help me control the energy fluctuations when the formation is activated. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he brought people to the area near the barracks and set up an illusion formation. Summer City used the will of heaven and earth to suppress the energy fluctuations from Night Sorrow's formation. After getting close to the barracks, Night Sorrow began to set up formations around the barracks. First, he set up an illusion formation to hide his body and hide the area where the formation was set up. Then he set up the strongest formation he could set up, the Heaven Sealing Deathlock formation. This formation was born out of the Heaven Sealing formation and the Heaven Sealing formation. Although it was much weaker than the two formations, its power was already very shocking. It was very difficult to set up a formation that covered an entire barracks. Night Sorrow used nearly 3 days to complete it, and he also used a few thousand Saint Spirit stones. Night Sorrow set up a large illusion formation, and then set up a teleportation formation. After doing all this, Night Sorrow returned to Heaven Tiger Pass, and began to gather people. He left the Enping army behind to guard Heaven Tiger Pass. With Heaven Tiger Pass as a defensive structure, even if someone attacked, an army would be able to hold them off for a while. Looking at the assembled army, Night Sorrow first knocked on the 9 layers of heavy armor. We are soldiers, so we naturally have to respect our soldiers and respect our soldiers. That's respecting ourselves. The Red Emperor's Chi-Du shamelessly massacred thousands of soldiers from the Sky Tiger Legion. I cannot accept that. Furthermore, the Sky Tiger Pass changed hands because of me. I am responsible for the massacre of the soldiers from the Sky Tiger Pass. I, Night Sorrow, will avenge them. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, all the soldiers knocked on their breastplates. The Black Tiger army even knelt on one knee. I've already arranged everything. What we need now is for everyone to kill the enemy courageously. Wipe out the Chi-Du army and kill them. Now everyone, start the teleportation. Night Sorrow pointed his space splitter spear at the sky. Then, under the arrangements of the various generals, the 9 Heavens Legion began teleporting. All the soldiers were excited. They only knew one thing, and that was that the commander had already arranged everything. All they had to do was kill the enemy. Feeling that one teleportation formation was too slow, Night Sorrow set up another one that was connected to the Sky Tiger Pass's main teleportation formation. This way, the 9 Heavens Legion could quickly teleport. This way they could retreat faster. When they retreated, they just had to destroy the teleportation formation that was connected to the main teleportation formation. As he watched the soldiers of the 9 Heavens Legion continuously teleport away, Yishan looked at Xiacheng. Uncle Xia, you can set off now. Based on the time, we will begin our operation in 2 hours. While you destroy the teleportation array, we will also start fighting. Feishio knew Lin. I shouldn't have left His Highness' side. However, this mission must be completed by me. His Highness' safety depends on you. Nothing must happen to him. Otherwise, even if we kill all the soldiers from the Red Emperor's kingdom, we will still lose. Summer City looked at Feishio, Nu Lin, and the others. All the generals nodded at Summer City. Then Summer City set off. Nu Lin, arrange for people to set up another teleportation formation. When we leave, we must be fast. This time it will be a blitzkrieg. Once we finish killing, we will leave. No matter what tactics the Red Emperor's kingdom uses, they will not be able to surround us. Night Sorrow instructed Nu Lin. Nu Lin nodded. He would carry out Night Sorrow's instructions to the best of his ability. The 9 Heavens Legion did not have a Sky Adept Matrix Master, but there were many Matrix Masters who could set up teleportation formations. Night Sorrow calculated the time. The time for the attack was about to arrive. Qing Emperor's Kingdom Guard, set up a formation and protect His Highness. Remember to stay close to him, Feishio said. My Highness, Captain Feishio will stay by your side. 7 and I will destroy the teleportation formation. Chi-Du should have elites around him. You must have someone by your side. Qin Tang said. All right then, get ready. We won the battle against the Dark Abyss. This will be the battle that will determine our victory against the Red Emperor's kingdom. It's about time. Prepare for battle. Knight Sorrow exhaled and gave the order. Everyone in the Nine Heavens Legion unsheathed their weapons and waited for the order. I don't have any requests for you. Just come back alive. The celebratory wine at Sky Tiger Pass is waiting for you. When you kill the enemy, protect every brother by your side. Knight Sorrow looked at the soldiers of the Nine Heavens Legion, who were filled with killing intent. Then he activated the Sealing Sky Kill Matrix. The wind and clouds changed, and the energy on the ground rolled. The Sealing Sky Kill Matrix was activated, enveloping the Chi-Du army's camp and the area where the soldiers of the Nine Heavens Legion were. Knight Sorrow also activated the Illusion Matrix. The Nine Heavens Legion charged at the unprepared Chi-Du army. Qin Tang and 7 found the location of the teleportation formation. They led their men and charged over. Before the enemy could react, they destroyed the teleportation formation. Slaughter. The 6 armies of the Nine Heavens Legion had a combination formation. Against the unprepared Chi-Du army, it was a one-sided slaughter. Knight Sorrow led the Qing Emperor's Guard and the strongest Angry Lin army to charge towards the main tent where Chi-Du was. Those who blocked the way were directly cut down. Soon the group of people reached the main tent. Chi-Du and Ganqing led their guards and glared at Knight Sorrow. How is this possible? Chi-Du could not believe what he was seeing, because the 4 legions under his command were finished, and only a small portion of his men were left to resist. Nothing is impossible. When you used the Nine Heavens World Group to threaten me, I decided to kill you. At that time, it was because of our personal grievances. I endured it. But this time you killed thousands of soldiers of the Sky Tiger Legion. I can't endure it anymore. The soldiers' souls can't wait either. Today you will die. Knight Sorrow pointed his space splitter spear at Chi-Du Ganqing. Kill him at all costs. Chi-Du's eyes were bloodshot as he roared at Ganqing. I will take the prince away. For Ganqing, protecting Chi-Du was the #1 priority. He knew that killing Knight Sorrow would be difficult. Although no one here was stronger than him, Angry Lin and Fei Xiu were all monarchs. There was also a team of Qing Emperor's Guard. Knight Sorrow wouldn't be so easy to kill. This is an order. Kill. Chi-Du roared and charged towards Knight Sorrow. Qing Emperor's Guard, form a formation and kill. Fei Xiu didn't move. He shouted at the Qing Emperor's Guard. The Qing Emperor's Guard, the 3 high-level kings, were far stronger than those of the same level. In addition, they cultivated a combination formation. Fei Xiu felt that he could stop Chi-Du, even if he was a monarch. Chapter 1938. Someone has been here. The iceberg broke not long ago. They must have taken something away. A man in black said. Someone must have been here. They must have a map. I don't know who they are, but that's not important. What's important is that they are going to die, another man said. Young master is right. Their opportunity is your highness' opportunity, said the man who spoke first. They were from the celestial sect in the world of reincarnation. Their leader was the young master of the celestial sect, Ling Ju. The celestial sect didn't have a sky master, but even if they did, they wouldn't provoke them easily. That was because the celestial sect's inheritance was terrifying. Even without a sky master, they could still unleash the power of a sky master. As one of the young masters, Ling Ju was very powerful. He was already an 8-star king, but with a secret technique he could fight against a monarch. Therefore Ling Ju was confident when facing other teams. The person beside him was his personal guard, Wushan, who was also very powerful. Therefore the two of them didn't join the other celestial sect teams. They formed an elite team. Then Ling Ju and Wushan continued along the Black Ice River. Knight Sorrow chose to go along the Black Ice River. Naturally, there were others who chose to go along the Black Ice River. It was just that they arrived at different times. Knight Sorrow had a map, but it wasn't the only one. It was recorded later. Therefore, some disciples of the big forces had it too. Night Sorrow rode on the ice Qilin and moved much faster than ordinary people. He killed the beasts that blocked his way. If he couldn't kill them, he took a detour. King-level beasts were very intelligent. As long as the other party was willing to back off, they wouldn't kill them. Of course, it was different when the ice Qilin met the ice dragon. It was a natural enemy. Lingju and Wushan were also very fast. They moved forward while killing. Night Sorrow avoided beasts, but they didn't. As long as it wasn't a monarch-level beast, they weren't afraid. On this day, when Night Sorrow and the ice Qilin worked together to kill a 5-star king-level snow lion, Lingju and Wushan caught up. Alone? Then don't live. Wushan, take care of him, Lingju shouted. Ice Qilin, let's go. Night Sorrow knew that danger had come. He couldn't see through Lingju and Wushan's cultivation levels, and he had heard Lingju's murderous roar. Night Sorrow's body flashed and landed on the back of the roaring ice Qilin. He controlled the ice Qilin to enter the black ice river and fly across the river. When he reached the other side of the mysterious ice river, he let the ice Qilin crash into the ice mountain on the other side of the river. He also attacked with his spear and rushed into the mountain. The ice Qilin's horn was in front, and it slammed into the ice mountain with all its might. Just like the mountain splitter mythical beast, it charged into the mountain. Knock the top down and don't resist, Night Sorrow instructed Ice Qilin. When Ice Qilin collapsed the cave, Night Sorrow's soul power burst out and pulled Ice Qilin into the 8-dragon cauldron. He smashed a bottle of soul-destroying poison and entered the 8-dragon cauldron as well. Then he mixed the 8-dragon cauldron with the crushed rocks and ice and hid it inside the ice mountain. Wushan also arrived in front of the ice mountain. When he was about to enter the cave, the ice mountain had collapsed, and he could not enter directly. After Lingju killed the snow lion, he rushed over as well. Master, the person disappeared when the ice mountain collapsed. He might have gone underground or gone deep into the ice mountain, Wushan said while bowing. That person is Night Sorrow from the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Lingju squinted his eyes and looked at the ice mountain. The one with the heavenly artifact? Wushan was stunned. That's right. Otherwise, why would a 3-star king like him be here? He was able to come here because of the heavenly Tao. Perhaps this is our opportunity. Lingju waved his arm. Under the vibration of the energy, crushed ice and rocks flew everywhere. He was going into the ice mountain. Wushan began to help as well. The heavenly artifact was more important than the ice dragon's bone. As they rumbled, Lingju and Wushan entered the ice mountain and cleared the collapsed area. However, there was no sign of Night Sorrow in the empty mountain. There was also no tunnel. Strange. Where did he go? Lingju was puzzled when he did not see Night Sorrow. Wushan did not say anything because he did not know what was going on either. However, after a while, Wushan's body shook. Something's wrong. Why is my soul being corroded? Wushan's expression changed. His soul was being corroded to a very high degree. If this continued, he would not be able to hold on. Wushan did not have time to say anything else. He sat down on the ground and resisted the attack on his soul. At this moment, Lingju's expression changed as well. It was the same for him. His soul was being corroded. Night Sorrow's soul-destroying poisonous smoke had taken effect. Night Sorrow, who was not far from them, felt that this was an opportunity. It was not realistic to kill all of them, but there was a chance to kill one of them. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Night Sorrow ate an antidote for the soul-destroying poisonous smoke and fed one to the Ice Qilin as well. He let the Ice Qilin use its energy to protect its body. Then he rushed out of the 8-dragon cauldron and used the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash on the meditating Wushan. At the same time, he smashed another bottle of soul-destroying poisonous smoke with his left hand. He did not show any mercy. In Night Sorrow's heart, Lingju and Wushan were different from Bai Yun's team. Lingju had already recognized him and would not leave easily. Therefore, he had to think of a way to solve this crisis. If there was a chance to kill him, then he would do it. The purple halo of the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash enveloped Wushan. At this moment, Wushan was meditating. When he realized that he was being attacked, he immediately tried to break free from the purple halo's control and used his sword to block Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Following an explosion, Wu Shan's body paused and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His soul was attacked by the soul-destroying poisonous smoke. He suppressed it with all his strength and could not even use 30% of his strength. Dark Mountain had managed to block Yishang's attack, but his body had also suffered a violent impact. It was mainly because Yishang's attack had been too sudden, and he had used his full strength. Dark Mountain had not been able to withstand it. After the collision, Night Sorrow's soul-destroying slash also attacked Wu Shan's spirit sea and stunned him. However, at this moment, Lingju used his sword Qi to force the ice Qilin back and slashed at Night Sorrow's attack path. Lingju knew that Wu Shan was severely injured because he was also greatly affected. However, he could not watch Wu Shan be killed. Wu Shan was his biggest support. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back and dodged the sputtering sword Qi. Then he shot out the sky-piercing spear. He used the Void Extreme Kill. The sky-piercing spear, which had been upgraded to a king weapon, streaked across the sky and shot towards Wu Shan's head. Feeling the threat approaching, Wu Shan forcibly suppressed the soul-destroying slash and opened his eyes. He did not have time to dodge or block, so he activated his protective energy to the maximum. Chapter 1939. Okay, then I will continue to cultivate. Be careful. Night Sorrow hung up the call. Night Sorrow exhaled and went to the small house by the lake. He was a little confused. Strength. What he lacked was strength. He had to take responsibility for some things. After all, the war between the Qing Emperor and the dynasty was because of him. Night Sorrow opened a pot of wine and drank while enjoying the breeze. His strength had increased rapidly in the past 4 years. The cultivation of his main attribute was the Void attribute. He was already at the peak of the 6-star King realm. His space-time willpower was also at the peak of the 4-star King realm. He could advance at any time, but it required time and consolidation. At this time, Xueshi came behind Night Sorrow and gently hugged Night Sorrow. No one wanted things to be like this. It will pass. I know, Xueshi. When I am done, marry me. Night Sorrow turned around and said to Xueshi. Xueshi's eyes were filled with tears. She then bit her lips and nodded. She didn't agree in the past because she felt that the beginning of her relationship with Night Sorrow was terrible, and there was no foundation for feelings. However, after so many years, she knew that Night Sorrow was serious. She knew very well in her heart. Therefore, when Night Sorrow proposed again, her heart collapsed. Night Sorrow didn't stay in the city in the sky. He went directly to the bamboo forest peak in the Medicine Valley and lived an ordinary life again. In the 2nd month after Night Sorrow's return, the space-time willpower advanced. Night Sorrow's body and talent attribute had entered the 5-star King realm. This made Night Sorrow's strength increase again. All the disciples in the Medicine Valley knew that the core pillar of the Medicine Valley, the realm lord of the 9 regions world, Night Sorrow, was at the bamboo forest peak behind the Taishan Peak. However, no one could disturb him. The Medicine Valley had already sealed off the Taishan Peak. Other than the elders, no one could enter. An ordinary axe accompanied Night Sorrow. Every day he chopped firewood. When he had time, he would deduce the array formation. It was the same for his clone in the heaven-sealing Great Hall. In the 4th month, Night Sorrow's will of nothingness finally evolved, breaking through to 70%. Night Sorrow roared to the sky. His voice echoed in the Medicine Valley. After years of suppression, he finally took the step forward and entered the senior king level. King's Road was like a staircase, and every step forward was not easy. Night Sorrow could now move forward rapidly because of the help of Samsara Palace. In addition, Night Sorrow also knew that Samsara Palace had given him the greatest display of willpower. Night Sorrow's current achievements were also funded by elixirs. Night Sorrow had taken Thunder Spirit Elixir, and Night Sorrow often took Spirit Perception Elixir to increase his comprehension ability. Night Sorrow's roar stunned the people in the Medicine Valley. They did not know what was going on, but the pressure in the roar made everyone unable to stand up. Monsters and animals all crawled on the ground. After the roar, Night Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief. A 7-star king. Night Sorrow felt that the monarch could not kill him even if he wanted to. He had the attribute of nothingness, which suppressed all other attributes, including willpower and rules. As for speed, the will of time and space was best at speed. Night Sorrow's original body did not plan to come out of seclusion. He wanted to continue. Now, in the battle facing the Qing Emperor's dynasty, the senior king could not do much. Of course, now he was not an ordinary senior king. Not long after, Gong Xian and the others came. Night Sorrow was a little embarrassed because his roar had startled many people. Then Night Sorrow said that he had some breakthroughs. Gong Xian and the others naturally congratulated Night Sorrow. At Night Sorrow's level, every breakthrough was not easy. Night Sorrow did not continue to stay in the Medicine Valley. He returned to the city in the sky. Usually he sat on the wooden boat by the lake and taught his children how to cultivate. Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan also cultivated very hard. They knew that it was not easy for their father. Jun Xuanji often came to report the situation to Yi Shang. Now the situation was very stable. The various factions only knew that something had happened to the Azure Tharch and that he was injured, but they did not know the details. The Azure Tharch Empire had also gained Sandalwood, who was extremely powerful. Thus they were all very cautious. Now that the situation was stable, Night Sorrow felt more at ease. Now that the situation was stable, it was time for him to step up. One day, Night Sorrow was resting by the lake. Jun Xuanji came to tell Night Sorrow that Sandalwood was in the Ninechong Pagoda, and asked Night Sorrow to go back. Night Sorrow arrived at Chia City. He took the teleportation array and arrived at the Ninechong Pagoda. He saw Sandalwood in the hall. Junior brother, the situation is a little chaotic now. The Qing Emperor's dynasty is not as safe as your world. So, I think it's more appropriate to send Master to your world, Sandalwood said to Night Sorrow. Okay. Night Sorrow nodded. Not bad. You are now a senior king. Master was right, Sandalwood said with a smile when she saw Night Sorrow's cultivation increase again. Then Night Sorrow and Sandalwood went to the Azure Sky Pavilion. Sandalwood told the Qing Emperor her idea. No, Master can't move. Although we have cleaned up the spies in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, there will still be some. Once someone notices my situation, the situation will not be stable. Sandalwood, you need time to refine the soul cultivation liquid and cultivate the lost art. The Qing Emperor shook his head. I have the teleportation array disk. I can teleport there in an instant. No one will notice. Master, you are safe. Only then can senior brother cultivate in peace, Night Sorrow said. Master, please listen to us this once, Sandalwood said. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Your Majesty, we will listen to the Blood Emperor, Xian Daozi said. At this time, Sandalwood was no longer Her Highness. She was the second most powerful person in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, the Blood Emperor. Yes, Your Majesty. Please go. Summer City said. The Qing Emperor nodded. He didn't have much battle power now, so there was no point in staying. In order to avoid being discovered, Night Sorrow used the teleportation array disk to teleport the Qing Emperor to the 9 floors, then to the 7 Night City. Not bad. The formation is complete. You did well. The Qing Emperor looked across the teleportation array at the shining ice dragon behind the city lord's mansion, and nodded in satisfaction. He was very satisfied that his disciples' cultivation in the art of formations had improved. I won't go to your world. I'll stay here. Xiandaozi, Summer City, you guys go back. Sandalwood needs people by her side. Night Sorrow can stay with me, the Qing Emperor said. Let me stay with your Majesty. Xiandaozi didn't want to leave. Why do you have so much to say? My cultivation is destroyed, but I still have my realm and will. Do you think the king can threaten me? Hurry up and go back. The Qing Emperor glared at Xiandaozi. Night Sorrow, your Majesty, I'll leave His Majesty to you. Xiandaozi bowed to Night Sorrow. Don't worry, Uncle Xiandaozi, Night Sorrow said. I'll take good care of Master. This is all my fault. I'll find a way to make up for it. Your Majesty, that's not what Xiandaozi meant. We'll go back. Xiandaozi shook his head. Chapter 1940. Junior brother, be careful. Qinghuan said. Thank you for your concern, senior sister. I will. Before His Majesty and Lord Blood Emperor come out of seclusion, the two of you will be in charge of dynasty's affairs. Knight Sorrow said as he walked out of the hall. We wish you a triumphant return, Your Highness. The people in the Qing Emperor's palace all saluted Knight Sorrow. Uncles, do you have anything to prepare? Knight Sorrow asked after they left the Qing Emperor's palace. There's nothing to prepare. We'll be ready to kill at any time. We'll listen to Your Highness' command. In the past, Your Highness was able to suppress the Dark Abyss and the Red Emperor's nation. This time we can also take care of the Celestial sect, Summer City said. Old man, that's an army battle. There's only the four of us now. Shangguanhong looked at Summer City with disdain. Tactics with more people and arrangements with fewer people. Let's go back to the 9 grand floors first. I'll make some preparations, Knight Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Originally, Knight Sorrow was prepared to fight by himself. Now that Summer City and the others were here, he naturally had to be more prepared. After arriving at the 9 grand floors, Knight Sorrow took out the spatial copper essence and began to refine the formation discs. After 2 hours, 3 teleportation formation discs were refined. Knight Sorrow gave one to each of Summer City. This is for our retreat after the battle. Before the battle, I'll set up a teleportation formation in a safe area. Activate the formation disc, and we'll be able to leave instantly and reach the teleportation formation in a safe area. Your Highness, some cities have methods to interfere with the operation of formations. The teleportation formation disc might not work well, Shangguanhong reminded Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow smiled. I've thought about this before. Important cities will have large-scale arrays set up to interfere with the operation of teleportation arrays and other arrays. However, I have a way to make this interference ineffective. If I discover that the teleportation array is ineffective, I can activate this and cancel out the interference. As he spoke, Knight Sorrow took out a few more lockdown formation discs and gave one to each person. Your Highness, you have a lot of treasures here? Xian Daozi and the others were stunned. Don't worry, there's more. This formation disc is an illusion formation disc. Once it's activated, others won't be able to see us if they don't notice us. Everyone should keep this as a backup. I don't know if it'll come in handy. In addition, this is the most crucial one. It's a life-saving formation disc called the Sky Sealing Illusion Formation. If we encounter a strong enemy and can't handle it, we can activate this formation disc and throw it out. Then we can activate the teleportation formation disc and run away. Yishang took out 3 of the highest grade array discs he had refined, the Sky Sealing Illusionary Killing Array, and handed them to Xiacheng's trio. Your subordinate knows why the Dark Abyss and the Red Emperor's nation lost so miserably. Your Highness's arrangements are foolproof, Xian Daozi said as he fiddled with the formation discs. Nothing is absolute. Anything can happen, so it's only right to have a backup plan. These 3 bottles are antidote pills. If the situation is too bad, then listen to my signal. If I want to poison you, you'll have to take the antidote first. Although it's a bit unscrupulous, this is war. All means are for victory. Against people like the Celestial sect, I don't care about the curses of others. Knight Sorrow gave the soul-extinguishing smoke antidote pills to the 3 people from Summer City. Old man, Xian Daozi, the battle hasn't even started yet. Why am I so excited? Shangguanhong said as he shook his neck. The Celestial sect will wait for our revenge. Summer City's eyes shone with a cold light. Also, I want to emphasize that if you 3 uncles come with me, then you have to fight according to the agreed tactics. If you're not harmonious and united, something will happen. Knight Sorrow reminded the 3 of them. No problem. If you want to massacre the city, we'll massacre the city. If you want to fight and run, we'll follow behind you, Xian Daozi said. Don't massacre the city. Kill the important people and rob cultivation resources. In other words, rob the city lord's mansion. Fight one battle, and change the battlefield. Make them tired and run for their lives. They can't afford it. Knight Sorrow explained his plan. It was the tactic he was best at because he had done it many times before. Then the 4 of them set off. Knight Sorrow also brought Ice Qilin. After a few teleportations, the four of them entered the territory of the Celestial Sect. Night Sorrow took out a map and marked the area of the Celestial Sect with a number. Uncles, let's play big. The most important cities of the Celestial Sect are Celestial City and Peerless City. Celestial City isn't as big as Peerless City, but it's the mountain gate and origin of the Celestial Sect. This place can't be taken without a powerhouse. Let's go and take care of their real resource and cultural center, Peerless City. Night Sorrow pointed on the map. Okay. Summer City's three people nodded. Uncles, you're all sovereigns. It'll be more difficult to sneak in after entering the city. We have to fight as fast as possible. Once we teleport over, we'll start killing and destroying the teleportation formation. Then, we'll rush to the City Lord's mansion. After killing people and robbing resources, we won't linger. We'll set the place on fire and leave, Night Sorrow said. Summer City's three people nodded. Night Sorrow first went outside the small city and set up a hidden teleportation formation. Then he met up with the four people from Summer City. This small city was 1,000,000 miles away from Peerless City. It was the furthest distance from the teleportation formation. In the evening, Night Sorrow and Summer City's three people arrived at the teleportation formation in this small city. They began teleporting towards Peerless City. As soon as they stepped out of the teleportation formation, someone shouted, "Who are you?" Sovereigns must report to the City Lord's mansion and explain their intentions. "I'm here to kill people. Report my ass." Summer City's man waved his hand and slashed. Net Carrot Premier won. The guards of the teleportation formation were also sovereigns. However, they couldn't compare to Summer City's peak sovereigns. They were directly suppressed by Summer City's gravity mystic skill. Die. Shangguan Hong's long sword was like a poisonous snake. It directly pierced the sovereign's forehead. Xian Daozi also cut down the guards around the teleportation formation. The three brothers cooperated very well. They have clones that can send messages. They'll set up a teleportation formation to support us. We don't have much time. Let's go. After removing the teleportation crystal from the teleportation formation, Night Sorrow destroyed the formation with his spear and flew towards the City Lord's mansion. After Summer City took the sovereign's storage ring, he, Xian Daozi, and Shangguan Hong followed behind Night Sorrow. They realized that Night Sorrow's speed was terrifying. A 7-star king was actually about the same as them. At this time, Night Sorrow's body was surrounded by the power of space and time. With the help of the space-time willpower, his speed was extremely fast. When they arrived at the City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow first threw out a trap and kill formation disc. He divided the guards into groups. The four of them started a massacre. Ice Qilin used the ice sealing domain, completely suppressing the guards below the high-level king level. Uncle Summer, follow me to the warehouse. Uncle Xian Daozi, Uncle Shangguan, kill the important people and steal their storage rings. With a low roar, Night Sorrow waved his space splitter spear and charged towards the City Lord's mansion. Chapter 1941. The main reason was that Summer City, Xian Daozi, and Shangguan Hong were not ordinary sovereigns. They had cultivated for countless years, and their foundation and strength were far beyond theirs. The guards in the warehouse had high cultivations, but they could not withstand Night Sorrow's Great Emperor Reincarnation / and Summer City's Universe 7 assassins. After entering the warehouse, Night Sorrow's soul power exploded, and all the resources and materials were moved into the empty spirit pearl. Summer City collected the storage rings of the people they killed. After moving the materials, Night Sorrow and Summer City went to the City Lord's mansion again. At this time, Shangguan Hong and Xian Daozi's eyes were bloodshot, and the ground was littered with corpses. Small fries are no fun. Let's kill those with high cultivations in the array, and then rush out, setting fire as we go. Night Sorrow's body flashed, and he landed on the back of the mystical ice unicorn tiger. Then he put away the trap array disc, and the space splitter spear kept swinging, attacking the people who rushed up. Summer City's saber kept attacking, and every move was fatal. Shangguan Hong's longsword was as sharp as a poisonous snake. He was also of the fire element, and during the gap in the battle, he released fire energy to set the City Lord's mansion on fire. After Xiandaozi put away the storage rings, he followed Night Sorrow, Summer City, and Xiandaozi. They killed and rushed out. And at the same time, they kept setting fire. The four of them flew very fast. Even if there were reinforcements, they would not be able to catch up so quickly. After a quarter of an hour, the four of them rushed out of the city. Go back and tell Ling Tian that we will fight to the death. Uncles, let's go. Night Sorrow shouted at the pursuing Peerless City guards. He waved at Summer City and activated the teleportation array disk. At this time, the pursuers were still some distance away, so they had enough time to activate the teleportation array disk. Night Sorrow had just returned to the teleportation array he left behind when Summer City and the others came back. Haha, it's so comfortable. Peerless City's City Lord's mansion has been picked by us. For countless years, no one has been able to do so, and I don't think anyone has ever thought of doing so. Shang Guanheng laughed loudly. Ling Tian, that old thing, is probably going to vomit blood from anger. Summer City nodded. He was also incomparably carefree. Let's drink and take a break. We'll continue. If we don't torture them to death, then we'll consider ourselves useless. Night Sorrow took out a few jars of wine and distributed them to everyone. Then he took out all the resources he had plundered from the City Lord's mansion. Your Highness, what are you doing? Summer City asked. Once the robbery is successful, we'll split the loot on the spot. Uncles, take whatever you need, Night Sorrow said. I still have a bunch here, Xiandaozi said, pulling out a few storage rings and transferring out the items inside. Take as much as you want. This is just the beginning. Their precious resources should be in the Celestial Sect's headquarters. However, even ordinary resources are extremely valuable. These are worth at least 200,000 Saint Spirit Stones, Night Sorrow said. Your Highness, we're all alone. It's fine as long as we have enough resources. Your Highness has a world behind him. Just take it, Shang Guanheng said. That's right. We really don't need it. It's not like it's anything good. Xiandaozi waved his hand. Then we'll talk about it later. Let's take a break and go to the second city. Night Sorrow took the resources and pointed his finger at the map. At this time in Peerless City, Ling Tian was furious. They had suffered heavy losses this time. Many of their sovereigns were killed, and the City Lord's mansion's resources were plundered clean. Look at Chapter C of S/J version *Cool Craftsmancy. Net, are you sure they're from the Qing Emperor's dynasty? After calming down, Ling Tian looked at the surviving guards of the City Lord's mansion and asked. Yes, this subordinate wasn't from here before. I was just transferred here. Last time, when Sect Master fought with them, this subordinate saw it with my own eyes. This subordinate remembers the masked man very clearly. The guard bowed and described the situation of Yi Shang's group of four. Night Sorrow, Summer City, Xiandaozi, and the other one should be Shang Guanheng, Ling Tian said through gritted teeth. Sect Master, this shouldn't be the case. That Qing Emperor is severely injured. We don't know the details, but he definitely won't be able to fight for a short period of time. Sandalwood just entered the Sky Master realm, so she shouldn't be making any big moves. Why are these people acting like they're crazy? Elder Jia said. Notify all the cities to be on high alert. Ling Tian let out a breath and passed down an order. Ling Tian was furious. Putting aside the losses this time, the news would spread tomorrow that Matchless City had been plundered, and Celestial Sect had lost all face. Matchless City was actually the most prosperous city of Celestial Sect, and it was the core city. Now it had been plundered and burned, and it was beyond recognition. Face slapping, this was a ruthless slap to the face. But at this moment, someone came to report to Ling Tian that another city had been attacked. When Ling Tian arrived with his men, this city called Water Jade had already been plundered beyond recognition. The city lord and elders had all been killed, and the resources had been plundered. The city was full of burning buildings. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Summer City were resting. After resting for a while, they continued to move. In one night, they had plundered 3 cities before the 4 of them rested. They couldn't enter the cities, so they set up tents in the wilderness. Summer City caught wild beasts, and the few of them roasted meat and drank wine. Comfortable. No wonder this old man is living so comfortably. Who could live such a comfortable life? Shang Guanhong looked at Xian Daozi and pointed at Summer City. No pressure. Just focus on fighting. Don't think about anything else. It is indeed comfortable, Xian Daozi said. I'm willing to be comfortable. This time, His Highness is willing to bring you along. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had anything to do, Summer City said to Shang Guanhong. Summer City and the others drank wine and rested while chatting. Night Sorrow looked at the map and sat on it to mark. Your Highness, how far can this battle go? Xian Daozi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Killing them until they're convinced is unrealistic. At the very least, they'll be so scared that they'll close the teleportation portal and not dare to go out. Also, they'll send out Heaven Master level puppets to ambush us in the city, Night Sorrow said as he closed the map. Your Highness, that means there's some risk. How about this? We 3 old men will do it. You can go back, Summer City said. He didn't want Night Sorrow to be in danger. No, I have to join the battle. They injured my master. This matter isn't over. If I don't kill them, then I'm afraid I'm useless. Night Sorrow came out to train his heart through battle. How could he go back? After resting for a day, Night Sorrow led Summer City and the others to attack the Celestial Sex cities again. They robbed, killed, set fire, and then ran. Summer City's trio and Night Sorrow's cooperation was very good. After the battle began, they knew what to do without Night Sorrow's command. The 3 of them, who had been stable for many years, were now very scary when they went crazy. The world was shaken. Chapter 1942. Grand. Night Sorrow's wedding was much grander than Sandalwood's wedding. It was not because the Qing Emperor was biased, but because Night Sorrow's circle was wider. The 9 regions world aside, in the world where Night Sorrow came from, he was the realm lord, so he had the highest social status. It was the same in the 9 Clouds world group. He fought for the safety of the 9 Clouds world group. So those who were sensible all remembered Night Sorrow's favor. In the Samsara world, in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Night Sorrow was almost above everyone else. The Qing Emperor had announced that Night Sorrow was in charge of everything in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. In addition to the position of His Highness, he was also the regent. This was because Night Sorrow was not willing to take over the position of emperor. He was willing to be the emperor now. The Crimson Emperor Kingdom originally had a grudge against Yishang, but after a few joint battles and the fact that the Crimson Emperor Kingdom was in the wrong, the Crimson Emperor and the others no longer minded. The Li brothers of the Blackfean Valley were not good at scheming, so they recognized Night Sorrow as their backer. Since they had a chance to get close to him, they naturally had to do something. 3 top forces of the Black-Yellow Great World came, which was incredible in the eyes of practitioners. It was a great honor for the giants to attend the wedding in person. Tang Jianfeng was there for the sake of the Qing Emperor. They were close friends, but the master of the Wuling Mountain and the Sea King's mansion were there because of the Qing Emperor, but mainly because of Night Sorrow. They did not come to Sandalwood's wedding. Night Sorrow would pay a visit to each of his relatives and friends. Yi Shang paid a visit to the VIP building where the Sea King's palace master resided. Hai Ling, who was standing beside the Sea King's palace master, was stunned. Aren't you a 7-star sovereign king? It's only been 3 years, yet you're already an 8-star sovereign king? If I'm lucky, I'll be able to break through. Night Sorrow pays his respects to the Manor Lord, said Night Sorrow. Ling don't believe his nonsense. He's not even 160 years old this year, and he's already an 8-star king. Is he just lucky every time? The Sea King Manor's governor said as he glanced at Night Sorrow. The Sea King's manor master had a head of loose golden hair, and his eyes were bright and full of vigor. He sat there, giving off a dignified air. Your lordship's words are a little too direct. Night Sorrow did not know how to respond to the Sea Monarch's words. Kid, you were still showing off your abilities 3 years ago, and now you've learned how to be tactful, the Sea King Manor's master said. It's not about being tactful. It's better to be humble in front of the seniors. Do things in a high-profile manner, and behave in a low-key manner. Night Sorrow took out the heart-cleansing tea he had brought, and began to brew it. I I like to hear this, and it's also true. A 7-star king can challenge the sky-reaching pavilion, and you're the first person to do so since the formation of the Black-Yellow Great World. You have the right to be proud. Ling, said that you don't plan to go again. Such a temperament is rare. The Sea King Manor's master had said it as a joke at first, but now he was seriously sizing up Night Sorrow. I won't go again. One should know when to stop. The Sky and Earth Pavilion has given me a chance, and I'm grateful and grateful. Some opportunities should be given to future generations, Night Sorrow said. All right, with these words, the Sea King's Manor will befriend you. If you need anything, just give me a shout. I won't eat your soft jade tendon pill for nothing. The Sea King Manor's master said with a smile. All right. If the Sea King's Manor needs any help, I, Night Sorrow, will do it. I won't delay receiving the message. Night Sorrow nodded. After chatting with the Sea King Manor's master for a while, Night Sorrow went to meet the others. The leakless true body. He actually cultivated the leakless true body. After Night Sorrow left, the Sea King Manor's master exhaled and said, Grandpa, you mean that we can sense his cultivation, but the energy and aura in his body won't leak out at all, right? The loss of energy during a battle is small, which is a great advantage, Hai Ling said. Yes, it can increase one's combat power, reduce energy consumption, and prevent evil from entering one's body. Most importantly, it's the only way to survive the trials of wind and fire. The Sea King Manor's master said something that Hai Ling didn't know. Seeing that his granddaughter didn't understand, the Sea King Manor's master explained it in detail. This guy was rumored to have a heavenly artifact, and now he has the leakless true body. Isn't this a disaster? Hai Ling murmured in a low voice. He won't get into trouble easily now. The main thing is that his momentum has been built. With his current strength, a sovereign is no longer a match for him. It will take some effort for a Sky Master to take him down in an instant. As long as he can't be taken down in an instant, someone will come to his rescue. He's married to Datura, and his master, mistress, and senior brother are all Sky Masters, who would poke a hornet's nest for no reason. The Sea King Manor's master said. Amazing. When I first met him, I felt that he was not ordinary. Later on, I learned that this guy is terrifyingly powerful. His combat power is strong, his strategy is good, and he does things well, Hai Ling said. When making friends, we have to put aside the concept of benefits. We don't want to take advantage of others. He has a body of merit. Being friends with him will invisibly increase one's luck. You'll slowly realize it, the Sea King Manor's master said. Only S5 positive? Edition J, all of them are /H Pirate J8 edition. Hai Ling nodded. She didn't want their friendship to change. You should also go out and visit some of the seniors. You'll have to travel the world in the future, and having one more friend means one more path, the Sea King Manor chief said. Night Sorrow felt very tired. There were many guests that he had to visit. He left in the morning, and only returned to the Nine Chong building at night. You rascal, I wanted to have a drink with you, but you were nowhere to be seen. Sandalwood and Yi were chatting with Misty Rain in the 9 Stories building. I have no choice. Since they're here, I have no choice but to pay them a visit. Some want to drink tea, while others want to drink wine. If I don't find an excuse, I don't know how long the two from Blackfiend Valley will drag me to drink, said Night Sorrow. The 2 bears of the Blackfiend Valley may not be good at strategizing, but once they've set their minds on something, they'll run all the way to the end without any twists and turns, Misty Rain said with a smile. Haha. Yes, I feel that they're quite straightforward. I also apologize today because I killed Liang, but judging from their attitude, I think they've moved on from the past, Night Sorrow said. That's good. This time, you've completely exposed yourself in front of everyone. Getting to know these people will only bring you benefits. Although some of your things will bring you trouble, as a Sky Master, they can't just smile in front and stab you in the back. Now that they've expressed their goodwill, they won't turn hostile so easily, Misty Rain said. Right now, the Sima residents and Yuan Daotian are not making any moves. As for the Thunderfire Heaven Lord, he can do whatever he wants. Since we've already shed all pretense of cordiality, I don't care how hostile they are, Night Sorrow said. Shed all pretense of cordiality. Misty Rain frowned. Chapter 1943. But the two of them came to the Qing Emperor's city. This will make the other party suspicious. Zhang Tan said. Probably not. We fought the Blackfean Valley until they asked for peace. Now that our Qing Emperor's dynasty is holding a wedding, it is reasonable for the Blackfean Valley to come and congratulate us. Night Sorrow shook his head. That's right. This isn't much. The main thing is whether the two bears know how to act. If they act well, then the Thunderfire Heaven Monarch will make a mistake and lose the City Lord election. Misty Rain said. After chatting with Misty Rain and Zhang Tan for a while, Night Sorrow arrived at the Heaven Tiger Pass. He wanted to see if Qian Qiangwei and Qian Yu were used to it, and what the situation was like. After arriving, Night Sorrow felt more at ease. Qian Qiangwei and Qian Yu were already cultivating the joint attack array with the team. This meant that they had already integrated into the God-slaying team. After inviting everyone to his wedding wine, Night Sorrow left. Captain is really impressive. He can even marry a Heaven Master now. Ling Long said to Nan Liyue. Haha. This is indeed impressive. I can't help but be impressed. Look at all of them. They all came out at the same time. They are so stupid. Nan Liyue said with a smile. Nan Liyue was already married to Lei Bao. Ho Jian and Ling Long's relationship was also not bad. It was just that they were still lacking in maturity. After returning to the 9-story tower, Night Sorrow took the teleportation array to the Dark City. He wanted to see Datura. During this period of time, he had been investigating the spatial worlds around the Heaven Mystic world, and did not see Datura. In the courtyard, Night Sorrow saw Datura. However, there was another lady in a red dress. It was the Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch. Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance, let me introduce you. This is my future husband, Night Sorrow. This is my good friend, Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance. She's the wife of the Sima Manor's manor head, and also a famous big shot, Datura introduced. Night Sorrow greets the Heavenly Monarch. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch. Then Night Sorrow sat down, and Datura got up to make some tea. You better treat Datura better in the future. Otherwise I will settle the score with you, Precious Fragrance Heaven Monarch said. After that, Datura told Night Sorrow that the Precious Fragrance Heaven Lord already knew about the Thunderfire Heaven Lord. She didn't support the Thunderfire Heaven Lord, but her husband had already promised the Thunderfire Heaven Lord and couldn't go back on his words. After chatting for a while, the Precious Fragrance Heaven Lord left and went to the Dark Abyss VIP Tower. Night Sorrow and Datura were engaged, and they definitely had something to talk about. It wasn't appropriate for her to continue. After sending off the Precious Fragrance Heaven Lord, Datura looked at Night Sorrow. We used to know each other, but our relationship wasn't that good. We were just acquaintances, so I didn't mention this to you. Who knew that she would come? Seems like she still cherishes old friendships. The Sima Manor has someone who supports the Thunderfire Heaven Lord. That person has the same number of people as us. We still have some plans to carry out, so we have to reduce their numbers. We can't do anything about losing the strength of the world of reincarnation. Night Sorrow felt that he still had to kill. If the Fengtian Manor head, who had the worst character, didn't appear, then he would kill the Dark Heaven Lord first. Okay, but don't kill anyone before our wedding. Datura looked at Night Sorrow and said. Okay, I'll listen to you. I forgot to ask Xuanji about the investigation of the General of Wind and Thunder. I don't know what this person's character is like. If it doesn't work, then kill him. The Thunderfire Heaven Lord wants to be the Lord of Reincarnation City. I won't let him get what he wants. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow chatted with Datura for a while, then returned to the Nine Chong building. Night Sorrow received guests every day. The main reason was that there were more guests, and he couldn't leave anyone out. Some of the sovereigns of the Nine Chong World Group came, and even Sovereign Yuan Ling came. He couldn't afford to offend Night Sorrow. This was an opportunity to resolve and ease the conflict, so he couldn't not come. Sovereign No Beginning and Sovereign Seven Rains didn't come. Both of them were in seclusion, but the people in charge of the two forces came. Seven Kills King of Endless Mountain came with Black Wind, and Seven Rains Sovereign's eldest disciple, Floating Flower King, also came. Their master was in seclusion, but they had to come. This way, the difference in etiquette could be minimized. Sovereign Shunshao, Sovereign Purple Clouds, Sovereign Xiantian, and Sovereign Sky Scorpio all came. Yi Qianhua also brought Shangxi to the Nine Chong building. No matter who it was, those who came to the Nine Chong building were giving face. Night Sorrow received all of them, regardless of whether they had any grudges in the past. Even Night Sorrow's family came out to receive them because Night Sorrow was too busy. There were still 7 days until the official day. Night Sorrow's original body had also broken through, and his space-time willpower entered the 8-star sovereign realm. There was no time to keep up with his cultivation, so Night Sorrow came out of the pagoda of time and space. Senior, there are still a few days until my wedding day. I have to go back. Night Sorrow bowed to the void. A happy man is in high spirits. Your cultivation has broken through, and you have a beauty. As a person, you should be like Night Sorrow. The origin of Samsara Palace appeared and nodded at Night Sorrow with a smile. Senior, thank you for your care. Night Sorrow will remember. Night Sorrow bowed to the origin of Samsara Palace and left. He took the teleportation formation back to the Nine Chong building and merged with his doppelganger. Junior brother seems to be stronger. Looking at Night Sorrow, Zhan Tan said, just today, I improved again. My secondary attribute advanced. Night Sorrow said, double happiness sure. Zhan Tan nodded. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow's main body received the guests and accompanied his family and friends. His clone helped Yi complete the creation of the armor. It was a high-grade king equipment. Cug craftsman Net Carrot Yu. While Night Sorrow was receiving guests, there were people in charge of the defense of the Qing Emperor's city. Summer City, Xiandaozi, and Shangguanhong had brought their shadow guards, as well as the Qing Emperor's Guard and the Imperial City Guard. At this time, anyone causing trouble in the Qing Emperor's city would be arrested. He knew that Night Sorrow didn't like to see deaths. If there were any troublemakers, they would be captured and thrown into the Demon Ceiling Tower, where they would be locked up until they died. However, Night Sorrow didn't know about this, and he didn't ask. There were many heaven pillars in the Qing Emperor's dynasty, and they were all friendly. Anyone who caused trouble would be courting death. As for those below the heaven pillars, the Qing Emperor's Guard and the Imperial City Guard would deal with them directly. On this day, Night Sorrow came back from the VIP tower, and saw Bloodthirst and Bloodthirst in the Nine Chong building. The two were there to apologize to Night Sorrow. They now understood why Rowan said not to provoke Night Sorrow, and why Datura valued Night Sorrow so much. Datura agreed to Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing's marriage proposal. After the engagement, he announced it in the Dark Abyss Whitebone Palace. Generals, you're thinking too much. You're soldiers and so am I. How can there be right and wrong in war? Soldiers value soldiers. This is something I can do, Night Sorrow said. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Bloodthirst and Bloodthirst felt relieved. After Night Sorrow married Datura, they would be in trouble if anyone came looking for trouble with them. At this time, someone came to report to Night Sorrow that the Shenwu Great World and the Zhangwu dynasty had also come to congratulate him. The Qing Emperor had already received them. Chapter 1944. Cool Craftsman on the Net. Wu Feng nodded. Their eyesight was naturally much better than ordinary people. Tai Lin restrained his aura and didn't leak out. This was to prepare for entering the Tharch realm. It was similar to Night Sorrow's leakless true body. As Tai Lin raised his longsword, his aura burst out. Just the aura brought about ripples in all directions. Night Sorrow waved his space splitter spear and released his battle chi to resist the impact of Tai Lin's aura. At this moment, Tai Lin moved. He stomped his feet and slashed at Night Sorrow. It was the spatial slash. Tai Lin was a spatial attribute Heaven Monarch. The broadsword in his hand was a spatial slash. Night Sorrow took a step forward and used his space splitter spear to execute the spatial slash. As the two weapons clashed and the energy clashed, There was a loud explosion. Tai Lin retreated for a distance, and then took a step forward. His body shuttled through space and slashed at Night Sorrow's head. Spatial movement technique consummate skill. To be more precise, it was a movement technique consummate skill. It was a consummate skill that could only be created when one had a deep understanding of the spatial laws and will of space. Fortunately, Night Sorrow's spatial laws and intent affected the flow of time around his body. This gave him time to react. Night Sorrow's space splitter spear blocked the path of Tai Lin's broadsword. After the two weapons clashed, Tai Lin retreated again. In fact, he wasn't pushed back. He used the recoil to retreat, and then attacked again. It was unpredictable and extremely fast. Tai Lin retreated and then attacked again, slashing with every step. Night Sorrow was in a passive position and could only defend. He didn't even have the chance to attack Tai Lin. Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. His soul spirit enveloped the entire battle cage and observed Tai Lin's movements. He studied his movement technique. He felt that this movement technique was very magical. He had spatial attributes and could learn from it. As he observed with his soul power, Night Sorrow discovered that Tai Lin's protective air shield was the same as his own. They both cut through the air. In addition, when Tai Lin moved, wherever there were soul power fluctuations first, he would move there. His soul power should have locked onto him and then guided him. Night Sorrow might be in a passive position, but with the soul spirit monitoring and the spatial intent protecting him, Tai Lin's unexpected attack couldn't hurt him. The battle went on for 5 minutes. Tai Lin's attacks became even more violent. His body burst with various types of energy and formed a large-scale attack. It was very similar to the spatial turbulence storm. It was a violent space with spatial energy as the main energy, wind and thunder energy as support. Feeling the pressure, Night Sorrow used the will of time and space, and then blocked the suppression of the violent space outside his body. Wu Feng's expression was cold. He was worried for Yishang. Tai Lin's ultimate technique was very powerful. If he continued to develop it, it would become an emperor-level grand momentum of heaven and earth domain. It's nothing. Song Ning loosened his grip on his long sword and gripped it again. His eyes were fixed on the battle inside the battle cage. At this moment, Night Sorrow's body also began to move. He also took a step forward, and his body appeared in another direction. The spectators were very surprised because Night Sorrow's movement technique was the same as Tai Lin's. It was even faster because Night Sorrow had the time attribute. With the time attribute, Tai Lin's violent space couldn't suppress Night Sorrow at all. At this moment, Night Sorrow's space-twisting dragon kill and time shockwave alternated between attacking Tai Lin. Tai Lin's expression turned ugly when his movement technique was broken. Besides his movement technique, his strongest move was the violent space, but it was useless now. Under such circumstances, Tai Lin couldn't hold on anymore. After blocking 2 death-shattering slashes, Night Sorrow's spear pierced through his forehead. The battle ended. Tai Lin, who Yuan Ji had invited, was killed. Night Sorrow walked out of the cage. The scene was very quiet. Everyone's impression of Roly-Poly wasn't like this. He wasn't this strong at all. Just now in the cage, Night Sorrow's defense was very stable. He wasn't at a disadvantage at all. Fu Wu announced Night Sorrow's victory. The blood battle arena made a big profit because not many people believed in Night Sorrow. What the hell? If you want to slap someone in the face, find someone stronger, okay? Song Ning stood up with his long sword. One time doesn't mean anything. There's still a long way to go. Yuan Ji stood up and knocked his walking stick on the ground. He then turned and walked outside. How long or not, it's not up to you to decide. Song Ning sneered. What? You think I won't live long? Yuan Ji turned around. Don't piss me off. If you do, we can try, Song Ning said. You dare to threaten me? Yuan Ji was enraged because Song Ning's words had the intention of killing him. What's wrong with threatening you? Complaining? I know you're good at this, but I don't know how you'll be so shameless as to complain, Song Ning said. Yuan Ji's face turned red because Song Ning's words were very rude. Yuan Ji didn't say anything else. His body flashed and he left. If he spoke again, he would lose face. After Yuan Ji left, the battle in the blood battle arena continued. However, it was king's level, so there weren't many people watching. Datura and Jidao also walked out of the private room. Fu Wu also handed a storage ring to Night Sorrow. Don't go. Don't you want to celebrate? You earned a lot. Can't you eat some of it? Seeing Night Sorrow about to leave, Song Ning and Wu Feng walked to Night Sorrow's side. Haha, sure. But this is the last time I'll take it, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Sorrow knew that Song Ning had announced him as a guest elder of the Blood Battle Arena. In the future, his battles wouldn't bring much profit to the Blood Battle Arena. It was obviously inappropriate to take 1 million for each battle. He wouldn't take what he didn't deserve. Haha. As for taking it or not, we'll see how it goes, Song Ning said. Let's go. Let's drink first, Wu Feng said. Boss Song, aren't you worried that he'll complain to Lord Battle Emperor after what you did today? Datura asked. I'm worried that he'll complain? Lord Battle Emperor doesn't care about these things. Whoever complains will only prove that they don't have the ability. No one complains about the internal conflicts of the Misty Dynasty, unless they make up some random reason, Song Ning said. Then won't it be troublesome if he makes up some random reason? Night Sorrow was still worried. After all, Yuan Ji was the Grand Elder of the Misty Dynasty. He won't do it easily. If he dares to lie to Lord Battle Emperor, it'll be strange if Lord Battle Emperor doesn't kill him, Song Ning said. That's good. Night Sorrow nodded. But you can't underestimate this old man. He's the Grand Elder of the Misty Dynasty. He's strong and has a lot of power. If he can get the Imperial Edict about you, then he must have mentioned you to Lord Battle Emperor. So you have to be careful, Song Ning said. At that moment, Yuan Ji arrived at the courtyard of the City Lord's mansion and summoned a man in black. Chapter 1945. The skill that Night Sorrow had strengthened was the Destructive True Dragon spell. The Destructive True Dragon spell had the effect of confinement, and could even injure one's soul spirit. It was harmful to the phantom race's innate talent, because every phantom doppelganger required energy and soul spirit power to support it. As Night Sorrow cultivated, Datura watched from the side. Her heart ached because she knew that Night Sorrow's journey had not been easy. She could not help him and could only accompany Night Sorrow. After Night Sorrow finished cultivating, Datura looked at Night Sorrow and told him her thoughts. She wanted to go to the blood battle stage. Aluo, in my heart, your safety is the most important, Night Sorrow said. I know. It is not a big deal to send a clone to fight. I also believe in myself. Not everyone can threaten my safety. This can also temper myself. Datura's eyes were very determined. Okay, then you go. You have no problem with the soul spirit defense. After I finish this battle, you can have the mysterious yellow armor. Night Sorrow looked at Datura and said, I am very happy that you want to give me the mysterious yellow armor. However, you don't know that this silk dress I am wearing is a defensive artifact. It is my life battle armor. It is not that easy to break through the defense, Datura said with a smile. She was really happy because Night Sorrow cared about her in every way. Aluo, then I will say one more thing. We have children and a perfect family. We cannot afford to lose them. Night Sorrow looked at Datura and reminded her before continuing to cultivate the true dragon destruction technique. After standing in front of the loft for a while, Lin Xian smiled and said, How can we lose with such strength? During Night Sorrow's previous battle, Lin Xian had been watching from the start to the end. Therefore, she was very clear about Night Sorrow's strength. She was very clear that even if a Heaven Monarch with extremely strong combat strength appeared, he would only be able to squeeze out Night Sorrow's hidden strength and potential. It was impossible to kill or defeat him. In the battle with Torch Dragon, Night Sorrow was indeed injured, but that was the self-explosion of a Heaven Monarch's artifact. Let alone a Heaven Monarch, even a half Thearch and first Tharch would be severely injured. However, not only did Night Sorrow survive, but he also killed Torch Dragon. This was a demonstration of his strength. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow entered the Haotian Godly Pagoda after the sky darkened. His original body and clone cultivated together. His original body performed the ultimate skill while his clone was supported by the will of time and space. They attacked under the power of the destructive True Dragon spell. Night Sorrow cultivated in the Hautian Divine Pagoda for more than half a month, and only one night passed. After dawn, Night Sorrow exited the Hautian Divine Pagoda. His original body and clone came out together. Then his original body kept the Hautian Divine Pagoda and entered the clone's 8-dragon cauldron. Night Sorrow walked around the Night Moon Manor, while some servants were still tidying up. Hongyi bought some servants back and continued to renovate some places in the manor. After resting for a day, Night Sorrow brought Datira, Jidao, Hongyi, and Lanning to the blood battle platform in a beast carriage in the evening. Night Sorrow went to Lin Xian'er's residence and wanted to ask if Lin Xian'er was going, but he didn't see her. Lin Xian'er had already left in advance. Now, she was sitting on the top floor of the blood battle platform's highest pavilion and drinking tea with Song Ning. Young mistress, Night Sorrow's opponent seems to be very strong. He has many kinds of energy in his body, Song Ning said. Don't worry about Night Sorrow. It is impossible for anyone below the Emperor realm to defeat him. What was the power of Torch Dragon's self-explosion? What was the level of energy? It was already at the Emperor realm. At that time, Night Sorrow didn't defend with all his strength. Even under such circumstances, he was still able to withstand it. Therefore, anyone who thinks that they can defeat him must be crazy. Lin Xian'er explained her analysis. Young mistress, your evaluation of him is very high. Song Ning looked outside the crystal window and said, Cool, Craftsman Network, you forever. Forever # free of charge, look at little W said. When he was in the Heavenly Monarch realm, not to mention you Palace Lords, even I was inferior to him. If he enters the Emperor realm, then the situation of the world will change, Lin Xian'er said as she looked outside the crystal window. At this moment, Yishang had arrived. Night Sorrow sat in his usual seat. He saw his opponent. It was a young man in his late 20s. One could see a cultivator's potential from their appearance. Being young meant that they had entered the 5th level relatively early, and their appearance remained at that age. Some people didn't deliberately control themselves and let nature take its course. For example, Fatty Shen could use energy to modify his body, but this went against the rules. Cultivators didn't care too much about this. No one could say that Yuan Ji's talent was low. Perhaps he wanted to be more dignified and intimidating, so he let nature take its course. Young mistress, you sit here and watch. I'll go down and take a look. If Yuan Ji dares to bet, then I dare to accept. Song Ning stood up and said, You're really digging your own grave. I don't care about you. Do whatever you want. Lin Xian'er waved her hand. I'll tell Night Sorrow that he's digging his own grave. Song Ning laughed and left. At this time, in front of the blood battle arena, Fu Wu introduced the 2 contestants and set the odds. Night Sorrow's winning streak was already nearing 20. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow's winning streak was very high. Those who challenged Night Sorrow were all experts. They were all chosen by the City Lord Residence's Great Elder and the 7 Palace Lords. The odds were 4-1. If Night Sorrow won 400,000, he could only win 100,000 because his opponent, Li Li, had no record. Even with such odds, there were many who would win against Night Sorrow. In the previous battle, Night Sorrow's battle had been too shocking. It was a display of strength. These cultivators in the blood battle arena even called Night Sorrow a roly-poly, but their tone was respectful. If others could do what you couldn't do, then you had to give them respect. This was the rule. Kid, are you comfortable in the villa? Do you dare to accept the bet? Yuan Ji, who had been sitting upright all this time, knocked on the ground with his walking stick and stood up. I don't seem to be lacking anything, so it doesn't matter if I bet or not. I won a few million last time and a drifting cloud villa. No. It's now called Night Moon Villa. I'm very satisfied, Night Sorrow said. In the previous battle, the drifting cloud villa bid 4 million. This time, I'll bet 5 million. Yuan Ji looked at Night Sorrow with a cold gaze. I already said that there's no drifting cloud villa now, only Night Moon Villa. Also, I'm sorry, but the Night Moon Villa was bestowed by the War Emperor. It's not something that can be measured with Saint Spirit stones. 5 million Saint Spirit stones is nothing in my eyes. If you want to take it back, you have to at least pique my interest. Night Sorrow laughed. In fact, the drifting cloud villa was worth more than 4 million or 5 million Saint Spirit stones. In the previous battle, Yuan-Ji was in a hurry and didn't have any Saint Spirit stones. Plus, he had confidence in Torch Dragon. Then what do you want? How much do you want? Name your price. Yuan-Ji took a deep breath and said, I heard that you have a colored glass sacred bone. Take it out and I'll consider it. Night Sorrow stated his request, which was also his purpose. You're dreaming. Do you know how valuable a colored glass sacred bone is? Is it something you can covet? Hearing Yishang's words, Yuan-Ji roared. Yishang had crossed the line that he couldn't bear. You're tuning into the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.